What it do, YouTube? We back again with another episode of Ball Talk. I'm Twano23.
I'm Michael Buckets.
And I'm Old King Pull 3.
So today we're going to be getting into some more trades. We went over the Luka trade and the De'Aaron Fox trade last week. Those are kind of the big ones, but some more trades happened. A lot of trades, ton of trades.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to touch on all of those, talk about those. Obviously, we're going to talk about some top performances from the past week. A lot of really good performances, too, from a lot of guys.
So many
really
40
exciting
balls.
week.
It was crazy, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun basketball this week, too. And then we're going to do a top 10 power rankings, what we think it's going to look like at the end of the season, which is pretty tough because a lot of these teams are brand new. So it's kind of fun to put together. And then we'll touch on the Super Bowl at the very end if you stick around.
Some Grammy talk, other stuff. You already know.
Mm-hmm. They not like us. They not like that.
So diving into trades, starting on February 3rd, Hornets swap picks with the Thunder. So the Hornets receive 2029 second round pick via the Suns, and the Thunder receive 2030 conditional second round pick via Nuggets. Doesn't say the condition.
Just a little bit of a pick swap, not major, honestly.
Yeah.
But it was a little start. Just a little starter.
Right.
I feel like everybody's.
What's up?
I was gonna say, I feel like everybody's just kind of throwing around Suns picks. Like, you get a Suns pick, you get a Suns pick, you get a Suns pick.
And those ones are
That's
honestly
true.
the ones that are so intriguing, too, because we have no idea when this team is going to blow up. It feels like it's quite soon, too.
Yeah, I just saw something that said, like, the pressure is on the Suns right now to, like, make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So moving on, February 4th, the Mavs received Caleb Martin from the 76ers for Quentin Grimes and a 2025 second round pick. So that's a new look for the Mavs with Caleb Martin.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this would have been a really nice one for them if they didn't just move their giant star in Luka. Honestly, I mean, I think we all know how that team was looking for the whole entire year, and at this point they're just trying to, I think, make do with what they have and try and build up. I don't know. I'm not really the biggest believer in this new look Mavs team, to be completely honest, but you know.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to say. I mean, Caleb Martin's a good player, so that's cool to add. But like you said,
For
it's
sure.
like definitely overshadowed by getting Anthony Davis, and how's that going to work out? Because that's kind of more important. And
everything's going to be overshadowed by the big ol' AD Luka trade for both of those teams right now.
Yeah. I think, I don't think like they're going to be like, I'm not going to immediately say they're probably going to win the championship, but I think they're probably a solid team. It'd be fun to watch them kind of play together. I feel like that's like kind of the big thing of the trade is like, it'd be cool to see AD and Kyrie and the rest of those guys kind of form a team and see those like fun times and those highlights. But I don't think they're going to be like a dominant force in the West, to be honest.
Yeah. Moving on, the Pelicans traded Daniel Tice to the Thunder along with a 2031 second round pick. And the Pelicans receive in return cash considerations.
This one I honestly really love for the Thunder. I'm not going to lie. Just adding more size to their team and another guy with Daniel Tice that can also shoot the ball. Being a Bulls fan, I remember the days when we had Daniel Tice and he was doing great things for us, honestly. He wasn't like a star or anything like that, but that's not what you're asking from a guy like Daniel Tice whatsoever. You're just asking him to come in, play good minutes when he's there, and that's what he's going to do, especially with the vibes of OKC. Like, I do not see a problem with him fitting in with them and just playing a role and even outperforming that role in certain nights. And don't be surprised if we see like a big Daniel Tice playoff game randomly out of the blue and Daniel Tice is back in the headlines again just because he's on the Thunder doing good things. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Daniel Tice definitely like a nice little role player that like when they call his number, he'll be ready to go, and he can provide some valuable minutes and some valuable performance off the bench sometimes.
No doubt.
And I think they probably picked him up with like the Lumen kind of I think they're kind of being optimistic with Chet. But players Chet size just always kind of deal with injuries. So I feel like it's nice that they kind of add some players that can kind of stretch the floor, just like Chet can for when he's probably not healthy sometimes.
Yeah, and like you said, it adds size and shooting. Plus, they got Chet coming off an injury now, which also adds size and shooting. So they're just looking really good as already the most dominant team. Then they add the size and shooting and these two reliable players. It is kind of like, yeah, it's like a 2K team a little bit.
Honestly, at this
Yeah.
point, it really has turned into a 2K team. And honestly, you made a really good point as well, just with Chet just coming off of injury. Maybe they know. I saw a lot of people saying when they first had traded, because Chet hadn't yet come back from injury when they made this trade. So I saw some people saying that maybe the Thunder knew a little more than what they were leading on, and that Chet maybe not coming back at all this year. But obviously he's come back. But maybe now that I'm thinking about it, maybe they're just going to try and have him to more of a minutes restriction, let him sit a couple nights and whatnot, and just having more size and to be able to fill in those gaps if he does sit a night out or something, just to be able to be ready for the playoffs is always a good thing. So this is definitely
Yeah, I could
just a
see
cool-
that. Because right after he played that first game back, he got put back on the out list.
Yeah.
So
Chet?
yeah,
Hmm.
which I think he's kind of, like you said, he's going to get some rest, play a few games here and there. We're kind of going to see him at like an Embiid rate for a while.
Yeah, he's just
until
going to
he
work
kinda-
into that full-time role again.
because the Thunder don't need to worry about anything. They got that number one spot pretty secure.
Only 9 losses so far.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
without Chet for a good bit of the season.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I think that they'll most likely favor resting their guys over trying to win every single game for the rest of the season.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think they're in a pretty good position where it's like you're going to make the playoffs, and I feel like the playoffs is more important than having a regular season record because we've seen them share the number one seed with the Nuggets last year and then not go crazy in the playoffs. So it's like, well, I guess they went crazy, but like they didn't go deep enough that you would expect the number one team to. So I kind of feel like it's okay to like not win every game, but when that playoff time come around, that's when you put your best foot forth for sure.
Yeah, let's also not forget too that in our lifetime, very recently, the Warriors did break the regular season record and then lose that finals. So I think everybody ever since then is kind of like always been on the vibe of like, yeah, it's cool to be the best team in the regular season, but truly that means absolutely nothing if you come down to it and get bounced out.
And it
Because
sometimes comes at a cost too.
right,
When
if
you
you're
look
playing
at like the Bucks' best seasons, Giannis didn't play in the playoffs because he worked so hard to get that number one seed or even up to that 3 seed, like worked so hard to get us in the best position for the playoffs that come playoff time, we don't have our best guy. We end up getting swept in the first round or losing in 5 games in the first round. And this is like one of the best players in the world just isn't there, So I feel like you think about that and you start to think, especially like we said, when the Thunder are in this position, they think, is it really worth it to win these games? Because it doesn't really matter if we were the number one seed. It only matters if we win the championship. And how are we going to win the championship if we don't have our best players active in the first round?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I think we move on to the next trade. The Kings acquire Valanciunas from the Wizards for Sidney Sissoko and 2 future second-round picks.
This one I really like. I mean, honestly, the Kings are making do with what they can with their new look team, even though they obviously had to move on from a guy that they've had since draft night and that has built such a great like bond with the city and with the team. Like De'Aaron Fox was like the most loved guy in Sacramento, let's be honest. But so that's really tough for them to move on from that. But I think they're doing really well with these moves that they're making. Zach LaVine adds a whole new dynamic to the offense, and that helps. You see him buying into the system, lighting the beam in their first win at home, and that was really cool. And I just think adding Jonas as well really helps the team, especially because you find Sabonis being very undersized in certain matchups when he's going against other big men, especially because he's been relied on to play that center role for so much of the year and even like last year, that now that you have a real big man that can play the starting role next to him, I think this is going to work out really well for them once they start getting going. I mean, who knows how it really works out because they're in the wild, wild west, but I think this is a good look for them, honestly. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you go ahead.
You got it. You got it.
I've been really like appreciating the way that teams are allowing players to play the position they want to play over the position that like their size and shape says they should play. Because you grow up playing basketball a certain type of way that you're drawn to. So like Sabonis or Anthony Davis being drawn to like a power forward position, but always being put at center just because of the size and shape they are, is kind of frustrating for some guys' career. And you even see it in the opposite realm with like Cat switching to center, even though he played power forward with Gobert, or like Giannis talking about switching to center because Brook Lopez isn't really a starter at this point in his career. So it's cool to see like guys be able to switch those spots and actually play where they want to play versus where the coach thinks they should play. Because more often than not, you see them thrive more, you know, like you see Sabonis thrive more in that power forward position.
No doubt.
So, like you said, I'm excited to add a good center who's reliable so that Sabonis doesn't have to worry about being a rim protector or a board getter or all the jobs that a center does. He can just worry about being a power forward, a point forward, you know.
Yeah,
So
I think
yeah,
adding Valanciunas was pretty solid. You know, Valanciunas proved to be a pretty solid big man. Like you can give him X amount of minutes, and he's going to go out there and produce and play hard. So I think the Kings adding him just gives them a pure center who can play the center position, and like y'all continuously said, like not force the bonus into that center position because he doesn't really flourish at the center position. He's a great player, but he doesn't flourish when he's put inside this box and being a center. He's more of a point forward kind of. He's kind of like a unpositional player where it's like he don't really have a position. He's tall and big, so you have to play him at the bigger position. And he just can't ball handle like a guard, but in the sense that he can facilitate, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can do it all. So I think that's a dope addition to kind of relieve that pressure off of him of being a still big man. So I'm excited to see how they'll work Valanciunas into the system because he's solid. He's a solid guy. I was a big fan of Valanciunas when he was on the Raptors
Oh my gosh,
back
I
in the
already knew
day.
you were gonna say that. Yeah, them
That's the
days with the
OG day.
Raptors, yeah, that shit was
Bro was
good.
hooper.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see Bro continue to go, be a valuable asset to teams. And I think he's going to play a huge role for them as down the line. I feel like he's definitely a good rim protector and that like defense down low, which they've been probably lacking this season.
Right.
so next day, February 6th, the Celtics sent Jaden Springer, a 2027 second round pick, and a 2030 second round pick to the Rockets for a 2031 second round pick. It's kind of weird, right? They sent, I
I'm
mean, I guess they're trying
thinking
to clear
I was
salary.
about to say it's probably a salary dump. That's usually what you see in these type of situations with them giving up more picks and giving up a guy. It's probably because I mean Jaden Springer hasn't really done a whole lot for them so far and hasn't really shown the potential that they might have thought he was gonna have. So they're just like, hey, here's this guy that has a contract that we don't want and a couple picks to help sweeten the deal a little bit.
Yes, sir. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Wizards land veteran Jackson. So the Wizards get Reggie Jackson and a 2026 first round pick from the 76ers, and the 76ers get Jared Butler, 2027 second round pick, 2028 second round pick, and 2 second round picks in 2030.
So with this trade, I'm gonna say honestly, and with a future trade that we'll be bringing up later, I think the Wizards are actually finally starting to move in the rebuilding direction that they actually should be moving into, like
They
committing
made a
to
lot of good deals.
yeah, committing to young guys, getting as many picks as they can, and trying to get vets in there that can help these young guys learn stuff and like actual legit young or actual legit veterans. I mean, of course, Reggie Jackson was never a star in his career, but you're not really going to get a star veteran for like a cheap deal like you can a Reggie Jackson. And Reggie Jackson has played really good minutes throughout his career. He's had moments and whatnot, so he can teach guys really valuable things for
For
the
sure.
He's
that they
also
can
been around superstars too.
right.
So he's like been the backup for superstars or like superstar big men or forward. So he can like spare some knowledge of how they're like kind of working.
Exactly. And like I said, there's a future trade that we'll talk about even more because I think that one like is the one that really stamped it for me where I was like, all right, the Wizards really are moving into a better direction than what they were, especially moving other guys and whatnot and just this one's a start to the right direction for the Wizards. They're not doing anything crazy. I don't think they're going to be the Rockets in 2 years or the Thunder in 5 years quite yet. I don't know, you know what I mean, what they got going on yet, but
No, but you don't look at them like the Pelicans and you're like, okay, what are you doing?
yeah, like give it up.
You know,
because it was that for a little bit because they tried that Kuzma pool experience and it was like, you guys are buying into this?
Yeah, like that was a really bad direction for the Wizards. So to reiterate what you said, it's cool to see them turn that around and be like, well, we got to right these wrongs. We got to do it right. We got to take it slow. We got to, figure it out. Get picks. Like you said, get picks, find a guy from a draft, build around him.
Everybody's hoping for Cooper right now.
Yeah, everybody. Which the Wizards are pretty likely. I actually heard the Bulls are pretty high in the lottery odds right now. I don't know why, but that's what I saw. So
you guys think that Cooper's going to be like really, really good actually for real quick?
I heard this take that I kind of agree with. I don't think he's going to be the number one option on the team, but I feel like he will be a valuable asset for a lot of teams. And paired with the right superstar, I think he'll do great. He kind of reminds me of like when he gets to the league, I think he's going to be closer to Sabonis. Of like he's going to be like a nice rebounder, facilitator, but I don't think he's necessarily going to be our 30-point superstar who's going to carry the load.
No, I don't think so either. I completely agree with that take. That's a really good take there. That he's never going to be like a straight number one guy, but he's going to be a really good number two or even like the best number three in the league.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely think he's going to have a good career. I just don't think he's going to be the deciding factor for a team that's coming in like a LeBron or anything.
And I think his mold, like his body size and like everything really is going to translate well to the NBA too. He's not like this super skinny kind of bigger guy. Yeah. Like he's actually got some size to him and
he's definitely built properly.
Right.
That's a bonus.
No, yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, that's a really good one right there. I like that.
Yeah, maybe it's hard for me to have a take. I've definitely watched some of its Duke highlights, but that's kind of like my first time ever really watching college highlights. So it's hard to compare it to anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to remember that 3-point line shorter end too. So if they're taking that three like right on the 3-point line, it's probably not going to translate as well to the NBA. But if you see guys taking deep ones all the time in college, you're like, okay, they're getting ready for that NBA three.
From Trae Young days.
Yeah, I was going to say Trae Young from college, bro. He was out there getting ready.
Yeah, see, that's like, I haven't seen NBA players when they were in college really play, so I can't really compare like that. But I should check out little highlights because I've been getting more into that. But I was going to say the thing that originally stood out to me and I think stood out to the media and a lot of people was when he went for the USA like practice team and played against the Olympic team and everybody on the Olympic team was like, dang, this kid's a hooper and like gave him his respect because that's a group of dudes that I care more about their opinion on somebody's game of basketball than anybody else.
Yeah, that means a lot for real.
Yeah, the media can hype up everybody, but if your peers don't respect you and balling, you're nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to take it with a grain of salt because it was pretty overhyped by the media. But at the same time, it's like if LeBron respects you, I gotta expect you to do something pretty cool.
Yeah.
He was hooping against them too. Like he was putting up solid numbers.
That's what they were saying.
Yeah, they were struggling.
I say so. Like you put him with like a good superstar, I think he's going to flourish.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he need like a good low key. I didn't have a point guard in mind, but low key him and Trae Young. Like
you think so?
See, solid.
I was kind of low key thinking him and Kyrie. That shit would be nutty. Put him next to a little bit of an older guy that can still teach him a little bit too.
Him and Kyrie would be solid. But I was thinking Trae Young because I was like Trae needs that help.
Especially because Trae's got the playmaking. No, yeah, I don't hate you for that. Yeah. That's going to set anybody up for greatness. I mean, that's the reason that the whole team around him looks so good this year. Let's be honest. I mean, if Trae's not on that offense, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, all these guys don't flourish as quickly. Yeah. They're going to be all right still probably, but like you said,
he's giving them their room. He's giving them their room to like kind of grow into that spotlight for sure.
Because even if he's not scoring 30 points per night, he's still gravitating so much pull to him offensively that it opens up space for other guys. So
Exactly. They got to look at his plus minus and his efficiency. You got to check the analytics to really see what Trae Young's doing. Because like he's not going to be on paper scoring 30 anymore because he scored 30 and that hasn't translated for shit for him. So I feel like he's kind of realized that this is a team ball and only the best teams make it. Not the team with the best players, but but like the best team overall. Some of those teams happen to have the best player, but for the most part, it's like the best overall team.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro, yeah, I just wanted to check in on what you guys thought about. A little Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, there's always someone every year, There's always someone where they're like, this is the next guy, and then sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. All right, this year was a bad year. This year was a bad year.
Yeah, this year they didn't say that about nobody.
But the guy was brawny. Not to say that they were like, he's going to be the number one, but he was the guy the media chose to talk about. Okay. So there's always a guy that the media is going to hype up in a draft class be like the next LeBron James type of thing. And like sometimes, like I said, with like a Wemby, you get that, or like the Zion draft class. Of course, people could argue the Zion thing went the opposite way too. But it's just like you're always going to see it every single year. They're going to hype up who they think the number one pick is going to be. Or in this year's scenario, they're going to hype up the fact that LeBron James' son is coming into the league. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to hear about. And we're never going to get to know for sure until they come and play in the league. And that's the only way we'll know how they're going to do in the league, obviously. So, but moving on, the Hawks deal Zeller to Rockets. So the Rockets receive Cody Zeller, 2028 second round pick, and the Hawks received draft rights to Alpha Kaba. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, but
yeah, I mean, I think it helps the Rockets. It's definitely a good move for the Rockets to get some more size and get another backup big man. I mean, both the Zeller brothers have definitely like shown that they can play in the NBA and be a good backup big man for teams. So I like it for them, not so much for the Hawks. I feel like the Hawks could have definitely kept Zeller and kept going with that if they were really trying to keep this going. But I mean, who knows? Who knows what they're exactly doing? Because I don't really think they're going to call over that alpha guy. I mean, I haven't really heard much about him, and I'm pretty sure he's overseas. So that's why they don't. I think that's why it's draft rights, because he's still like 17 or something like that, and it was like a 2-way contract. Wait until he gets of age and then bring him over type thing. But
okay.
Usually those guys are like super projects that don't exactly work. You gotta like you're shooting for the stars that you hopefully got the next Luka right there, but
yeah, for sure.
And we're not hearing about him yet, so I mean it's nothing. I don't think that'll actually happen. So that's why I'm like kind of a question mark for the Hawks. But
I think it's like a player dump. I think it's like the fact that they have the opportunity to like deny that alpha guy so they can go pursue other things in the off season. I think like it's playing a big role into that.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely see the Hawks making a very big trade this offseason with all of the young talent that they have. I hear you there, making some room for contracts to potentially make a big move this offseason with their guys. I mean, as much as they love Dyson Daniels or Jalen Johnson, I mean, if those aren't some of the hottest commodities in the league right now, you could get something really good back for one of those guys.
Yeah,
for sure. And especially when you don't know for sure if this is their best season of their career.
Right.
So
it's exactly kind of what I was thinking.
Now, just in case, which is shitty to say, but
yeah, it's business though. Yeah, it's what it is.
But I'll touch back on that in a second.
Oof.
So the next trade, the Pacers deal James Wiseman and cash considerations to the Raptors for 2026 second round pick.
Honestly,
that was merely a player dump.
Yeah, I was going to say that's just a player dump.
For sure.
James Wiseman's just one of those guys that I had so much faith going into this.
I had so much faith, man.
Dude. Getting drafted to the Warriors at the time he did too.
Yeah, bro. They like needed a big man, and he was like kind of
7 foot rim blocker.
Like, he was shooting the ball from college, bro. He was looking good.
I thought I was gonna buy a Warriors James Wiseman jersey one day,
but
I had high hopes when he was in the Warriors. But once they dumped him off, I was like, yeah, this is
it's over.
Yeah, the only time you hear about him now is when he's getting moved, which is unfortunate.
Yep.
But that's just how it's been.
Hopefully he can find a good situation. I feel like Raptors is a good situation for them because they don't have a clear-cut superstar right now.
Yeah, they're
So
almost like
everybody.
they're almost like a lesser Rockets, where, like you
Yeah.
said, they don't have
Yeah.
like a clear-cut guy. They're just like a group of really good basketball players.
Yeah, they just
And just the
a group
condition
of
of the
young
Raptors,
guys.
he could end up getting moved again too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like as soon as they can, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Said
we
as
hear more
soon
about
as
James.
they can.
Well, they got their rules, but like they might just, there's cash considerations. Maybe they wanted the cash. I don't know. I hope the best for James Wiseman, though. Moving on, Pistons land KJ Martin, 2027 second round pick from the Bucks, 2031 second round pick from the Mavs. And the Sixers receive cash considerations. So
I think it's just another. What's that?
How much cash?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they released that like on the stuff exactly, but
Yeah.
I think this is a deal for the Sixers where, once again, like the last couple of deals we've seen, like it's just a player dump, and they're really just trying to buy into the system that they have right now with Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George, and they're just trying to clear up as much contracts as they can because they know that they're going to have to pay the out of Maxey. Like, Maxey's going to need a bag.
Yeah.
Once that next time comes, because he just keeps getting better.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
at this point, he's the leader of their team.
Right, like Embiid and Paul George, they're going to get paid just because of what they've done in the past, but Maxey's still growing, so they have to make room for the potential super max that they might give him one day, because who knows, Maxey's a baller right now. He could become one of the best players in the East and earn a super max, getting an all-NBA spot or something like that off of some super hot year.
Well, if I were the 76ers, I would trade Embiid and Paul George and build around Maxey.
I mean, I hear you, but that's crazy.
I blow it.
I think Paul George fucked up his career going over there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like he should have stayed on the Clippers, bro. I feel like the Clippers have something decent going on, and I think if Paul George would have stayed, like given some time to figure it out with James Harden, I feel like that could have been good. Plus the Kawhi coming back, I feel like Kawhi and Paul George played pretty good together most times. So like being able to work together and get James Harden enough, I felt like would have been a good situation for him. But I feel like going to chase Embiid MVP and what Embiid doing and feel like you can add on to what Bro is doing, just ultimately just kind of fucked him, because now we see Embiid saying he's probably never going to play back-to-backs again. Haven't been that productive this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, he never went over there trying to ride another man's coattail. I feel like he should have done it out of what he really felt. I feel like he was trying to be the missing piece for them.
I think that's going to be him the rest of his career, though, at this point. I think we're going to see him bounce around at least once more. This isn't going to be his last, though.
Oh, so not at all. He might request a trade after this year.
Like, for real. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, this experiment definitely didn't work out. Like, if there's one piece that for sure doesn't work in this part, it's Paul George. Embiid and Maxey look good together anytime they play together, but when PG's there, it don't fit. He just doesn't have room to work like he does in other spots.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think the alternate reality where Paul George's career is the best is he gets traded to the Raptors instead of the Clippers. Kawhi stays with the Raptors because that was their original plan. It just didn't work out. So they moved the plan to LA. And that's kind of where we end up with the SGA trade and then the rest of Paul George's career. But in an alternate reality where he goes to the Raptors like they wanted to, that team just came off of a championship, and now you're adding Paul George.
Yeah. I feel like that would have saved Serge Ibaka's career.
I was going to say, who knows what they got to give up, though? Like, you think they might have to give up Pascal, and Pascal was a super big piece to that championship team.
That's true. He was.
Because PG's market is so much higher at that point in time still. He's still doing super good. He was like just, I think, top 5 in MVP for the Thunder. Because he went crazy for the Thunder that one year. Scored like 30-some points a game. Was going crazy.
And
that really holds his status still today.
I remember. That's when I was like a huge Paul George fan, for sure.
Man, I was wearing the PGs all the time. Come on now.
Yeah. I feel like he just kind of. I feel like he's stuck. I feel like his mind is kind of stuck on ring chasing right now, which is like not wrong, but at the same time you got to go to the right. If you're gonna ring chase, you got to go to the right situation,
For sure.
I was like, if you gonna ring chase, nigga, you should be going to the Nuggets or some shit.
Yeah, you
like,
gotta like do your research on what
yeah,
what analytically is gonna work
like
the best for you.
exactly,
Truly.
because like Philadelphia was never gonna work for him. Like they wasn't in the running for finals last year. Like if you're going to ring chase, go to a team that was in the Eastern Conference last year.
Like hit up the Thunder and see if ties are broken
Yeah.
since you left, and see if you can come back or something. Like
You know,
Reverse it.
you know.
Reverse the trade. Same package. Any players that have been drafted are now part of the package.
Reverse it signing. Let's do that. Go back to the Clippers, dog.
No, bro, the Clippers are thriving.
let them
But
go back to
imagine
the
with him in there.
Pacers.
That could be a good look.
That I was gonna say that could be really good. Not gonna lie, with Tyrese, man. I know this is not segmented, but Tyrese Haliburton is fleecing the NBA right now.
What you mean by that?
That man's at $260 million.
And then he said,
I would have gave his ass 160. Like I respect players getting a big bag based off their like what they bring to the team. But I feel like it has to be a level of like you have to prove yourself. When you think about back in the day in like the early 2000s, like think about D Rose coming off his MVP year. He only signed for 185 million, and that was a sign of the times. But it's like that would motivate the player to keep coming back to strive for more money. Like if you like kind of set a cap limit on what they can get. So like you see with Tyrese Haliburton right now, you gave him 260 million, and he has not played like $260 million. Let's be for real.
yeah, that's going to be a scary contract moving forward if he doesn't get back on pace to what he was doing last year. He's going to look like a Bradley Beal contract. I hate to say it because I love Tyrese Haliburton, like one of the most beloved guys in the NBA, I feel like right now, just personality-wise and the way that he plays.
Sure. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Especially because he's like from Wisconsin, and so it does really give you like a hometown vibe being us from like northern Michigan right above Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. I feel like I like love Tyrese Haliburton for that reason because I'm like, bro, we did not grow up that different, me and Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, you know, like I respect him, but it's like when you pay somebody $260 million, you need more than what you're giving.
It's a whole different story.
That's a $100 million contract he's playing. Like you're playing good, but you're not playing like I should be paying your ass $200 million a year.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Not a year, but over 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So
well, he knocked the Bucks out of the playoffs last year in 5 games, and I'm still sad that he fell off.
Yeah, he went nutty last year. Like that's what I'm saying. If he can get back onto last year's play, this contract looks fine. It's just a fluke year. Whatever happened. But man, if he don't, it's a Bradley Beal contract.
Like 260.
Yeah,
that man paid like $150 million. You getting a quarter. You getting $25 million a year. That's what he's playing like.
He out there playing like Chris Paul right now.
Yeah, I think players get this ego where they're like, "Ooh, I'm the man. I need this money." But it's like if you're not doing this day in and day, like you pay LeBron the big bucks because you know what you're getting with LeBron. You pay KD them big bucks because you know what you're getting with KD. You know them boys gonna come up and show out. But like all these younger guys coming in thinking they're the guys, like I just like that about the NBA right now.
And I think that even does more feed into your point, like you said, where back in the day people really had to prove themselves for these big contracts, whereas nowadays, like Tyrese, no offense to Tyrese, like we just mentioned, we love him to death, but he didn't exactly prove himself for that big of a contract. He really just had one good year and didn't even win, my bad. Let me correct myself. Got far in the NBA Cup. Like, didn't even win that. Like, they didn't actually win anything with that team. He really just had, like, his best statistical year, and they took a giant bet on it, expecting him to keep going up. And I think that, like you said, kind of is the new NBA way of dealing with these contracts, and they're taking so much off of potential rather than actually making these guys prove it for their money.
Exactly. It's like, man, y'all helping these guys be set up for the rest of their life off of 2 years.
Yeah.
I want to, and I feel like everything the NBA has been doing has played into their ratings. When they say, "Oh, our ratings are down," it's because you are giving out so much for so little. Like you're giving out, like you paying these guys so much money, and they're not attracting people to want to watch your game.
Yeah.
Like you was limit how much money they can make. And I bet you these guys come and play better once you see like, oh, I really have to grind and get this money. If I really want to take care of my family, I have to really go out and play. And that's what I respect about the old NBA was like nothing was earned. You had, nothing was given. You had to earn everything in the old NBA.
Yeah.
Like up until like 2018, I would say you had to earn everything. Like nothing was given to you. Like just because you had hype coming in, you had to come and prove like, okay, you nice, you can hoop, but can you do that for longevity? Can you lead a team? And then once you show you can lead a team and be that guy for an organization, then you'll get the $200 million contract. You see, Steph didn't get shit until he was 2-time unanimous MVP.
Especially with that ankle shit early on, they were not giving him a bag.
He had to prove himself. Like Stephen Curry, like now, look at him. He's arguably top 5 all time.
All right, we got to circle back because we still got 11 more trades to talk about. So getting back to the trade talk.
Yeah.
The Suns deal Nurkic to the Hornets with a 2026 first-round pick for Cody Martin. Oh, I'm going to butcher this. Micic. For Micic and a 2026 second-round pick. So both Martin brothers moving. His parents are probably like, damn. We got to buy 2 new jerseys.
And they got to buy 2 new houses.
Yeah, for sure. I think them trading off Nurk was kind of, I think it was a silent trade request because I've been watching a lot of Suns games and they've been talking about how Nurkic hasn't been playing and him and Budenholzer are not seeing eye to eye. So I think that was like a silent way to like get him out of the situation that was going on because he wasn't producing at the level they needed. And then they acquired Nick Richards, and I feel like that played a huge role. And then Nick Richards kind of came and started playing to the system and what they wanted from Nurk. And I think, probably egos kind of got into it. And him and Nurk and Bood was not seeing eye to eye. Bood wasn't playing Nurk, even though Nurk is definitely off the bench type of guy. He wasn't getting played at all. I think he didn't play since like early January. So I think, I think that was just like a silent like trade request to kind of keep it clean. Nobody kind of gets their dirt on their name. Bood isn't a bench. Nurk isn't a crybaby. I think it was just worked out best for both sides. It was just nice and easy and simple, clean.
Yeah, weirdly enough, just to touch on Nurk real quick and not give too much hate, he weirdly enough is the role player that talks like he's a superstar. He is that KD tweet, if I'm being honest. Like, Nurk, his whole entire career is kind of low-key tried to, like, pick where he goes and this, that, and the other. Like, he had a big role in, like, making sure that he went to the Suns and this, that, and the other. And, like, definitely, I think, I don't know, just makes it seem like he's going to do so much more than what he is when, like you said, he's more of an off-the-bench player. And I think he could have been really good for this Suns team, but I think this was a show to the world that he really isn't, like, the Valanciunas type of guy that we all thought he might be for his whole entire career, that's super productive. Because in his Trailblazer days next to Dame, he was actually he has had great seasons. Like, I'm not saying he's a bum by any means necessary. He has had great seasons and whatnot, but I think just once he came to the Suns, it was a realization that it was that system, playing with Dame, this, that, and the other, and that now that he's moving on, it's kind of not so much holding over anymore. And yeah, I don't really like this for the Hornets either. I don't think he's going to do anything great for the Hornets by any means. And if I remember correctly, he's on kind of an uglier contract, so this is kind of a good deal for the Suns to hopefully clear up some contract. And Micic is having
he's getting some bank.
Right, and Micic is having a pretty underrated season for the Hornets, so I mean, who knows, maybe he comes to the Suns and adds a little spark under them like Yuta Watanabe did last year and helped them get on like a little bit of a run, because that dude literally played like 5 or 6 really good games for them, and it helped them actually have like a really decent season. Of course, they didn't do well in the playoffs, but stuff like that helps catapult guys and like a whole entire team. So if you bring in these guys and they actually help you out versus maybe potentially being a little bit of like a, like you said, crybaby or just like whatever he might have been doing inside of that locker room, really, it definitely might help them a lot.
I wonder how much the Mark Williams trade that didn't go through had to do with this too. The Hornets trying to add a new center.
That is true.
But that didn't even happen quite yet, did it?
Right, but you think maybe it was in the talks, because at this point we're all February 6th, so it's when things were official, but all the conversations are happening at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I think they had the idea of probably moving Mark,
Okay, I hear
although
what you're
like
saying.
they probably was like, we're gonna move on from him, so we need to like start building to like, you know.
Dang, I didn't even think
Because I
about the
just peeped
fact that they're
ahead
about to
too, and they
have
put
both
that
of
trade
them.
at like the end, so it could have potentially been before at some point, but because it got rescinded, it got moved to the top of the list.
Dang. Yeah, that's gonna be weird for the Hornets. I don't like how the Hornets look after this
Yeah,
trade
that
deadline. This is a big L
that,
for
and
them.
we'll get to that when we get to it. But that was just rough for both teams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Another rough look for Dennis Schroeder.
I've been waiting on this one.
Dennis Schroeder gets moved to the Pistons through the Jazz. Lindy Waters, the third from the Warriors to the Pistons, I think also through the Jazz. This one's kind of confusing. And future round second picks from the Warriors. And then the Jazz receives KJ Martin. So he got moved right away also from the Sixers to the Pistons to the Jazz. And they receive a future second round pick, presumably from the Pistons.
I'm not gonna lie, I love this for the Pistons.
Oh,
This
yeah.
this is what I meant like earlier when we were talking about like what we're gonna be doing later on and whatnot, when you were saying like a lot of teams are looking kind of new and it's kind of hard to make the predictions for the power rankings and whatnot. The Pistons are sneaky new right now after this trade deadline. Like these two role players are actually, I think, going to play a lot more of a role in certain games and helping this team win games than a lot of people think that this, like, excuse me, silent little trade is, because Lindy Waters III hasn't done like necessarily a lot for the Warriors, but he's coming to a system where they're already playing young guys so much and giving in to letting young guys show their potential and try and blossom out, that I think that'll be great for him. And Dennis Schroeder being an amazing veteran guard is going to do nothing but help Cade, Lindy, Jade Knight, like everyone on that team is going to get
Yeah.
better after playing with Dennis Schroeder. Like the same thing that we were saying about Reggie Jackson. Like he's played with greats, he's been on great teams, he's been around for a long time, he knows how to win the game, and it's only going to do good things for them.
Yeah, for sure. I'm wishing the best for the Pistons. Like I love Kate Cunningham. I feel like
Same.
he bringing that competitive air. I feel like he don't fuck with nobody in the league. It's like it's him and his team against the world.
For real
Because
though.
I'm pretty sure he probably has that mindset based off last season, how everybody kind of shitted on him. So I feel like he's kind of on his like fuck everybody. I don't need no homies, no friends. I'm coming out. I'm killing everybody. So I like that mindset, and I hope that like his confidence kind of is something that the rest of the team can feed off, because that could reshape the future of the Pistons. You know, for what we know.
Yeah, and I think a lot of him, like you said, being thinking that it's like him and his team against the world and being so happy with being in Detroit. I think a lot of that has to do with how Detroit like accepted him getting that
Yeah,
getting that first overall pick that year, and like buying into the motorcade and this, that, and the other, like making so many different things about him. Him coming with the Buffs, like wearing the glasses on draft night, like he knew he was going to Detroit and they knew they were getting him, and it seems like it's a very like happy relationship there, and I
yeah,
doubt I see Cade. Like Cade's like a Dame. Like I think the only way we see Cade out of Detroit is if he just keeps losing and he keeps trying, and eventually it's like, all right, Cade, like let's go somewhere else, huh?
yeah, for sure. I would rather him do that sooner than later, though. We don't want him
Yeah.
to wait, because
We
like
don't want another Dame situation.
had
Right. Like
Dame
that's
left
the
like
saddest
a
part
season,
about Dame's thing is
if he would
now
have
he's
left
out.
a season and a half ago, if he would have got traded like 2021, 2022, but you know, like right after their championship,
Mhm.
that would be like crazy.
It would
You
have been
know,
over for the league for real.
yeah, for
But yeah,
sure.
it's just
Because that would have helped him. I'm pretty sure that would have helped him sustain his like level of play also. Like being able to be in a good system. I feel like he kind of got worn out after that last year losing. Then he got traded, and then
And he
it's
was
just
playing
like,
so those years with like the rib injuries and stuff like that. So you got to think
yeah,
that, like you said, took wear and tear on his body. And he would have learned to be so much better of a playmaker being next to Giannis, like he already has so
exactly,
far. And like
right.
imagine him now, like he'd be averaging damn near 10 assists every single night. Like at this point,
literally.
like
And it's like, yeah, I think he came to the Bucks at the end of his prime, and just the trade and his personal life and everything kind of got in the way of them at first. And by the time that they're where they are now and they have chemistry and they're ready to be a good duo, he's starting to fall off, which is very unfortunate.
He's
but
kind
it's
of
like
he's starting to regress.
for sure.
He's still having crazy nights though.
He still is. I mean,
I was gonna say, let's
we're
not be
gonna talk
wrong.
about
I
a
mean,
40 piece.
yeah, I was
No,
gonna say.
he's not like
But
bad.
the
But I think he's
regression's
starting to
still there.
regret.
I hear
Yeah,
you.
like,
I hear
The
you.
field
probably not
goal
like a
percentage,
big regret,
he's
but
not
like
shooting
that
as
bar,
much.
you know,
The
that
bar
bar
is starting to deplete.
He's
I
not
hear
as
you.
efficient as he used to be.
Yeah.
And that's really the biggest part. You see a
I
lot
think
of
Doc
like
needs to free him,
30%.
too.
Doc, what?
I think Doc needs to free him and let him take some of those shots he used to take.
I mean,
Like,
look
he
what
takes it
happened.
sometimes,
Look
but
what
I don't-
happened in his 40 piece. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
He started taking
When-
some of them shots he used to, and it was like,
Or, like,
okay, it's Dame
When
time.
we were at that Suns game last year where Giannis didn't play, he went nuts, bro. He controlled both teams. I mean, he shut down KD and
Yeah, I remember watching them highlights after the game when y'all was telling me about it, and Dame was hooping that game, and it
Yeah.
was cool to see that vintage Dame in the Bucks jersey kind of hooping.
And yeah, so you really do need to see less of Giannis ball handling. And it's kind of like you need both. You need Dame to kind of let Giannis handle the ball. You need Giannis to let Dame handle the ball at the same time. And that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And they've
Well,
kind of
also
favored
feed
Giannis in it
people.
just because Giannis is more in his prime and MVP conversation. So you're going to feed Giannis the ball more. But I agree with what you're saying that Doc does need to give it more space to be like, hey, if you want to take an ISO play, if you want to go out there and set yourself up for a three, if you want Giannis to just like set a screen or stand there and do nothing, tell me, dude. Like, let me know, because that's when we see the best Dame, because that's what he's done for a majority of his career.
Yeah, exactly.
But you never know, you know.
I don't know if this system will work, but I was thinking like coaches should start like breaking up into minutes. It's like, okay, for 2 minutes we're going to feed Giannis. For 2 minutes we're going to feed Dame to just kind of like divvy out that like ball control.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that would be like a smart decision, but I just wonder if that's like something that could work. You know, like that's something we can do on 2K. That's like, you know, we can feed somebody 2 minutes straight and like it'll work. But like I genuinely want to know about that because I feel like the Bucks got a lot of like nice pieces. Like I love Bobby Portis. Like I
Oh my
love
gosh,
BP.
yeah.
So I always want to see BP.
I could do a
shine.
whole Bobby Portis podcast.
Honestly,
man. I could
yeah.
sit here
Like,
and talk about Bobby Portis for 2 hours.
So I think
Wow.
feeding BP, feeding Giannis, Brooke has his times too. I love when Brooke is at the top of the at the top of the key and he takes a deep three and it's all that. I'd be like, man. But then again, he's like slow as shit. And,
Yeah,
you know,
he ain't
bro,
really doing it as much anymore.
He's literally like so slow. It's crazy. But anyways,
I think he's trying to get another ring though.
Speaking of
definitely wants
Milwaukee
one.
Bucks pieces from the past, Milwaukee Bucks championship, PJ Tucker traded from the Heat to the Jazz, along with a 2026 second round pick and cash considerations for Davion Mitchell.
I like that for the Heat, getting another young guy moving into this like young era, trying to help Tyler Herro and the rest of the team that's still there. It's definitely going to be really good to have another younger piece to be able to just try and help flourish the team. I feel bad for PJ though, because I don't know if you guys saw when PJ got traded to the Heat, he tweeted the like gif of Undertaker sitting up out of the coffin because he thought that he was going back to the Heat, and it was like a reference to him like getting back on his shit and whatnot.
He's
and now
excited about it.
and now he's going to the Jazz. So it's like, oh man, like right after he thought that he was going to be on his old team, like getting to be on that Heat culture and help all those young guys is over on the Jazz. So that's definitely tough for him.
Raptors.
But I think what plays a role into that,
Raptors,
which like I learned this from watching Jeff Teague's podcast. It sounds like in terms of his mindset is why, like, you know, he made a big fuss last year about the Clippers not playing him when they first got him. But Jeff Teague was telling about how, like, when they would go to certain cities, PJ Tucker is not going to the hotel. He's going to hit the club immediately. So I think having that knowledge from, like, a lot of GMs in the league is why I feel like he's not getting his shot, because they probably worried about his focus on the game. Like, he might be continuously still doing that. I think he said when they was on the Bucks, that championship year, it's like they would go to Houston and not go to the hotel, hit the club immediately. And it's like those things stick with you as a player. So I feel like that plays a role into why PJ Tucker is like not getting his shot right now.
Yeah.
It's like he's a good vet, but we don't think he's going to be producing how we want him to do based off the things that he do. Like you don't show us that you want to be the superstar. Just like the actions that you show doesn't show that you are 100% on ball. It's like you want to have the glitz and the glamour and like this whole like superstar lifestyle, but you're not a superstar, buddy. You're not the guy. Not the guy, pal. Not the guy. You're a role player, so you have to put in more work than the superstar to maintain your role. I feel like, which is completely off the topic, but I had that thought like
you straight up said you're not
like,
that guy, pal.
Yeah, he's not. I love PJ. Like on 2K, I'm always picking PJ up to get him a ring on my team. Like he's not playing, but I always like to get PJ Tucker. But I'm talking about a ring on like my simulation, bro.
He's like
this one right here.
Fear the deer. That's low key one of the best like little slogans in the NBA. That's damn near the best one. Like I fucking love that shit.
See red, bro.
Fear the deer. That shit's dope.
We got another Bucks trade. Not that PJ Tucker was a Bucks trade, but I just used him to transition. But no, the Bucks got Kevin Porter Jr. from the Clippers for Marjan. Hey, I didn't choose the order that this website put the trades in.
Oh no! I was shaking my head at him because he said "Suns up." Yeah, I was like,
"Suns up." That's
see red, bro.
That's super corny.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I know.
I get it.
But yeah, so we sent Marjan Bootcamp to the Clippers. Nice young piece. I kind of liked him. Beauchamp. Yeah, I've always had trouble pronouncing that one.
You're good.
But yeah, he's a good young piece. That it's the type of player that like you're not super hurt because it's not like I was more upset about losing AJ Johnson, honestly, because I felt like he had more potential. And I think it's a good look for him on the Clippers, though. I think he's going to have more minutes over there, and I'm excited about that. I don't know much about Kevin Porter Jr., so I don't know how that's going to look. I don't think he's going to play much minutes based on the fact that.
Yeah, I don't know. He's definitely, I mean, just to speak on Kevin Porter Jr. In his past, he was drafted to the Rockets in maybe like 2018-ish, 2019-ish.
Yeah, I think so. He's around that era.
Yeah, and he had some like locker room issues with guys and whatnot, and I don't want to say for sure, but I'm pretty sure he got in some trouble outside of basketball too.
Yeah, he did. He had a domestic violence case.
Okay, yeah.
I remember that. So that kind of had him out the league for a year or two.
Right, okay. So he ended up having to be removed from the team and obviously from the NBA for a little bit. And ever since then, his production hasn't really been like the greatest or anything like that.
He was on the up and coming that season, though.
Yeah, so it's kind of confusing of a move for me for the Bucks, especially when you have a young guy that still can. I mean, like you said, he's not like necessarily the preferred young guy on the Bucks, but he still was a good young guy on the Bucks that already knows the system and has been playing well in that system for just a young role player. So
yeah, prior to this trade deadline, we had a pretty good core of young guys, but they're all it's like a lot of guards, I think.
Yeah,
and I think that's why they kind of dish some of them off for more of a win now scenario for Giannis and Dame. Yeah, I don't know what I would have done because I'm not a GM, but I don't think I would have done that.
Yeah.
The Hawks trade Bogdan Bogdanovic to the Clippers for Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, 2025 second round pick, 2026 and 2027 second round pick. And yeah, I liked that trade. I thought that was a decent package for Bogdan. I think he's a good player. I'm excited to see him in a new situation. We've talked a lot of good about the Clippers, except for that one time that I said they were going to be bad. But yeah, so I'm excited to see a player that I like go to a team that I like and see how that works out.
Yeah, and I think this is a good chance for Bones to try and get his career back on track playing behind Trae Young. I think their games actually simulate a lot to each other. Like the way that Bones is very like dribble heavy and very kind of fancy with his play. I think this is a good way for him to kind of learn from Trae how to hone that in and control it a bit more, because we see the problem with Bones a lot is that he kind of gets a little bit too much with it. And I think this would be a good way for him to kind of get his career back on track. And I think Terrence Mann is a really great role player, so that'll be really great for the Hawks.
Mhm.
I'm not really sure about Bogdan to the Clippers, though. I mean, I know you're saying you're a believer, but I don't know if I'm that much of a believer on the Clippers, bro. Honestly,
I don't know if I'm a believer. I'm just excited as a fan of the
okay.
player and the team,
I
you
hear you
know?
then. Yeah, I can
Mm.
agree with that and get behind that, but just a shoulder shrug for me for the Clippers. But for the Hawks, I'm like, okay, you got some picks and you
Yeah,
got
there's
two
a
guys
lot of
that can
nice
help
picks
your
there.
team. Yeah, like I'll take that.
I'm really excited. I love Bones. I love
I'm
Bones. I
saying,
love,
yeah, Bones is a
so
fun player.
yeah, so I definitely hope he gets to a system that allows him to play his brand of basketball, because I feel like he's one of those players that NBA politics is going to mess up for sure. I feel like the way he plays, and like he likes to share the ball, but he also likes to get down and dirty with it, which is like that like in certain games that will come clutch. So I really hope that he's over there on the Hawks now. You said.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So I hope he gets the opportunity to kind of let that Bones time out and like
that's what
hoop,
I was thinking,
because he's a
especially
fun
playing
player to
behind
watch.
Trey, bro. Like that's gonna help him a lot.
Yeah,
But yeah, I kind of jumped
Bogdanovich,
ahead to see how we were doing, so I spaced out for a second.
but Bogdanovich, he's I think that's solid. I don't think he's that big. So I don't think he's going to add any height to the team, but he will add some perimeter shooting for the Clippers, which is it's always good to add somebody that can space the floor for sure.
No doubt.
So we made it. Uh,
Yep.
4-team trade. The Bucks receive Kyle Kuzma from the Wizards, Jericho Sims from the Knicks, 2025 second round pick, and a 2026 second round pick. The Knicks received DeLon Wright via the Bucks, draft rights to Hugo Benson via the Bucks, and cash considerations. Spurs received Patrick Baldwin Jr. via the Wizards and cash considerations. And the Wizards received Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, and all of my hopes and dreams. 2028 first round swap.
Yep.
So yeah, so here's the thing.
Yeah, you go, brother.
I don't necessarily hate this trade, Middleton's at a point in his career where this might have been the best we could do. And so it's not bad that we're adding size and transition defense. And I don't know. I've been watching the game since Kuzma came, and Kuzma's been doing what I wanted him to do, doing what I've been wanting Middleton to do all season. So I'm happy about that. I already touched on the fact that I'm a little sad about AJ Johnson because he was a good young guy, and the the Wizards players like seem to really like him. Like they're excited about having him. And I thought that was cool. They just kind of like showed me that he is more valuable than I thought. Because I take things with a grain of salt when they're a Bucks player, because the Bucks draft anybody, and I'm like, that's the next guy.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a fan of the Bucks and I'm gonna do that.
I kind of
So
do
I was
that with the
excited.
Bulls too, so I hear you for sure.
Yeah, so
I
like
do
to
not
see
do
him
that
go
with the
there and
Bulls.
the Wizards be like, we got AJ Johnson now. Like that made me kind of happy. That he gets to have more of a role there. Maybe he'll be normal. Anyways, Chris Middleton, man. 12 years with the franchise. The first time I ever went to a Bucks game, Middleton was there on the court. This was when Jabari Parker was the leader of the team and Giannis was a twig, you know? Um, so yeah, that's just I kind of mentioned earlier. Sometimes you don't want to end up in a situation where you have a guy who is worth a lot and then you could trade him for something really good, but you don't, and then he doesn't ever get better. He only gets worse. Just because of age and regression and how the human body works. So now Chris Middleton is not as valuable as he used to be, and we had to dish him off for less than we could have in the past. That was tough, bro. That was tough for me.
I think, I think it was a solid trade. I think this was the best that the Bucks can do for Chris because it allows Chris to go into a system where he can kind of be the vet and can kind of be the first option because he's a championship player who's not extremely old, but he's getting up there. But I think he can still produce. So I think this was the best situation. Like he could have went to a team that would have played him minimum minutes. But now I feel like he's going to be a starter, which is pretty good for him. And I think Kuzma was a good pickup for the Bucks because it adds somebody who can score on all three levels. My only thing with Kuzma is he has to realize he is not that guy. You are not the first, you are not the second, and you are debatably the third. And that has nothing to do with his skill level. It's just having to play into that system. I can see him, like as we saw in Washington, he likes to take some dumb shots at the wrong times. And I feel like that will kill the Bucks if he don't understand that he's not the guy taking those last shots. It's Giannis.
That's definitely true.
It's Giannis. It's Dame. Damn near even Pat Connaughton over him. Like you're putting the ball into other people's hands. So I feel like it's a good pickup as long as he understands his role on the team and what he's here to bring. And I feel like he could still do great. Like he could still be a 15 to 20 point scorer if he buys into the system enough. So I feel like, that was a pretty solid trade.
Yeah, that's honestly.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
It's going to be interesting these next few weeks or like the next month going forward because they're sitting Giannis out for his injury and giving him time to rest. So Kuzma and Giannis haven't played together and they're not going to play together for a while. So Kuzma is going to get kind of that more space where he's going to be the number 2 guy while Giannis is gone, or at least they're going to try and see if he can be that. So it'll be interesting to do that in the immediate future and then transition to like you're not the guy, like you were saying, like Giannis not the guy.
Yeah, I think a thing that they're really going to try and do with Kuzma is try and mold him into being like that newer, younger Bobby Portis. Like, of course, we're not seeing him do exactly those defensive things or rebounding things at this point in his career because, like you said, Kuzma kind of takes dumb shots and had kind of a freedom in Washington that he's not necessarily going to have in Milwaukee because, like you said, he's going to be the third, if not the fourth best option behind Bobby Portis literally on some nights because Bobby is just as much important as Kuzma at this point, and Kuzma's a younger, should be better piece, but Bobby in that Bucks system plays way better than his contract and way better than what he actually is as a player. No offense. I mean, it's just he plays amazing in that fucking system. And I think that Kuzma is what they're kind of looking at to hopefully transition into that and be another piece that can do a lot of that stuff because, like you guys were saying, I mean, that would just take more load off of Dame and Giannis. It'll just help. And if he can actually buy into that, it'll just help the Bucks so much. I mean, I honestly love this for the Bucks. If I'm a Bucks fan, I'm jumping for joy that we got literally anything for value for Chris Middleton. I mean, it sucks and I hear you, but like, you got some value back and you got a couple seconds. Like,
no, the next thing I was going to say is that I am sad that we traded Middleton, but had they not made this move and the only thing that they did in the trade before the trade deadline was get Kevin Porter Jr., I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Like my emotions wouldn't be sad about Chris Middleton. They'd be mad at the front office because why is Chris Middleton still on this team?
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm judging other Bucks fans for saying exactly what I'm saying, but it really is like, it's time to part ways. It's just sad to actually see it happen.
Yeah.
And I think about like the Giannis interview where he's like, we won a championship with Drew and Chris and Bobby and Pat and Brooke. So whenever those guys get traded or whenever those guys part ways from this team, it's really sad because those are like your brothers. Those are like your family because you've been together for so long. He said he spent more time with Chris Middleton in the past decade than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's his number one dude in the
family,
world.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it is sad. Like it's a new chapter, not just for the Bucks, but for like each individual player on the Bucks, because they've learned that Chris Middleton is a dude that is on your team, like he's always been there. So
it's like he's no longer a part of the family.
Right. Yeah, but we don't have it as bad as Mavs fans. So at least I got that to be happy for.
Type shit.
So yeah, Luka on the Lakers. The Lakers are looking for a center. The Lakers trade Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, 2031 unprotected first round pick and a 2030 pick swap for Mark Williams from the Hornets. Mark Williams takes a physical. The Lakers don't like it. They say no.
They say nah.
So Mark Williams goes back to the Hornets, and Dalton Knecht and Cam Reddish come back to the Lakers, leaving the Lakers without a center, and now we realize leaving the Hornets with 2.
I did not know that Cam Reddish was involved in that trade.
You didn't know that?
So that low key was just like news to me when you said that. I thought it was Dalton Knecht and like
I did see you react. I was like,
no, I thought it was like a random guy.
That.
So I didn't know it was Cam Reddish.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I feel like the politics kind of killed Cam Reddish for sure because a lot of dudes, like a lot of those guys like Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Edwards, talk about Cam Reddish was that hooper. Like he was the hooper in high school.
Yeah.
When they played in high school,
even
he was
through
that
college, he was the clear number 2
Yeah.
behind Zion. Like it was
Like,
Zion
yeah.
and Cam, and RJ was just like a floater role player. Now even RJ is like float. He I think that's almost the best place for him to be because, like you said, he kind of got to avoid the politics, and RJ just got to have a few rough years and then be able to actually flourish and get time because Cam had those few rough years and then teams just gave up because he was into the politics of he should have been this, should have been that.
Yeah, he should have came in immediately, but it's like you gotta put him in the right system. You gotta ask him what he needs. I feel like teams often don't give the players what they need. They try to fit them into a box of what they want them to be. But I feel like if you are able to listen to your players or not even listen, just watch how your players play and see where they thrive and be able to build a system off that, it'll work way better instead of trying to have these textbooks like we humans and think about it, we're humans post-COVID with like the whole human chemistry is different than what it used to be in terms of how we thrive, how we work, and how we just like to be cared for and things done. So I feel like they didn't give him the opportunity to be cared for and like listen to like what he needs as a player. And I feel like that definitely played a huge role into why he didn't pan out to what he was going to be. That's one of those players I had high hopes for.
Super high hopes for him.
I definitely thought my boy Cam Reddish was going to be like the next KD.
Yeah.
Like I definitely thought bro was going to come in like that. So like every time I see him in these bad situations or getting talked about by the media, I'm just like, damn, bro. I feel like it's people out here that feel bad for you, bro. But I'm gonna go to the trade quick since I'm already talking. I think that trade is crazy. I think for Marvin Williams, that's going to be a tricky situation to go back to, having playing a good season for a team and then they trade you after you feel like you was just getting along. And I'm pretty sure he's built bond with those guys over there. So that just feel like it was being ripped away from him. And therefore the trade to be rescinded, it's kind of one of those things like, how do you go forth? How do you have a conversation with the front office after this?
Right.
What does that look like coming back to the team where you were traded? I feel like it's a sense of not being wanted in the home.
And I feel especially the same way for Dalton Knecht with him with the Lakers. I mean, he was a rookie that's blossoming into maybe like a nice role player and maybe even more. I mean, who knows? He's still so young and just instantly getting traded halfway through the year and now having to go back to that Lakers team with LeBron and all these guys that are clearly trying to win a chip right now and have to like go play with those guys and realize that the front office didn't think that they could win a chip with you right now, that they didn't think that you had that potential to do that. They thought that Mark Williams was the guy that was going to come in here and do it, not you. So now you got to come in there and like either go crazy or, I mean, it's going to be a lot on Dalton. Like we're going to see how Dalton Knecht's career kind of transitions for a lot of his career if he handles this well or if he kind of acts with an attitude or something like that, because you see a lot of guys kind of take this stuff a little too personal and then like let it affect their game for the rest of their career, whereas Dalton Knecht might be very professional about it and just go ball.
Right. So yeah, moving on. Cavs trade for Hawks DeAndre Hunter. They're sending to the Hawks Karis LeVert, Georges Niang.
Yep.
Thank you. 3 second-round picks and 2 pick swaps.
I love this one for the Cavs, I won't lie. Getting a big wing like that.
Yeah. You could shoot the lights out.
Bro, how the Thunder and the Cavs just had a nice little piece like that.
Yeah, for real. They're crazy. Like the way that they be just trade talking teams. But I mean, they also did give up a pretty decent package too for him. So I think it was pretty even on both sides. I mean, I don't love it as much for the Hawks as I do for the Cavs because the Cavs, of course, are in a better position to win right now. So them adding a piece looks a bit better than the Hawks adding a piece. But I also do like them adding Karis LeVert. He's a very ball dominant guard that can play next to Trey and help take some of the ball handling skills off of him because they don't really have another guy that can bring the ball up the floor and play make a lot. And Karis LeVert, while not being like a all-star playmaker or scorer, is a very good one and has looked like a six-man of the year candidate multiple years. So putting him
Yeah.
next to Trey and being able to help take some of that load off helps so much, in my opinion. I mean, these are some of the trades that we were reading off in not this exact one, but the Hawks getting Karis at least were like one of the trades that we definitely read off in one of those Bleacher Reports, Michael, that we were looking at in like one of the first 2 weeks of the podcast when it was
Right.
just us. So I I mean, same things that I was saying back then. I honestly really love Karis LeVert for the Hawks. It's not the best thing for them, but it's good. And then the picks, I mean, you love picks. Picks just help trades happen, help you get players. I mean, getting 5 picks in this for the Hawks is amazing for a guy like DeAndre Hunter. So
Yeah, I feel like a couple of teams during this trade deadline though have created a log jam at positions. I feel like the Hawks now have a good chunk of guards that like plays into the politics. You know, like that was the situation with Bones over there in the Clippers. Was like he was stuck in a log jam of point guard and shooting guard. They're playing Terrence Mann, they're playing Norman Powell, sometimes a shooting guard. Then you got James Harden. You had KPJ in that system also. I just feel like that just like I just feel like that's stuff sometimes for players. But I'm happy. I really always had a special liking for Karis LeVert because him and Bones kind of have a similar game. If they kind of get that street ball, gritty basketball, which is like a very enjoyable game for me to watch. So I'm happy that bro gets his shot to be over there. Hopefully he gets to start and gets to be in a good system and rhythm, so we can like really see what Karis LeVert can do. Um, DeAndre Hunter, that changes a lot for the Cavs. Hopefully, they can work him into the system and he can find out where he best fits. Because I like him as a 3-and-D wing that can come, make some clutch shots for them and can carry that weight sometimes to relieve that off of Evan Mobley or D. Mitch or Darius Garland. It just adds another level of scoring for them that I think is pretty solid.
no doubt.
The big one.
The big
Warriors
one.
acquire Butler from Heat.
Mm.
So I'm noticing as I kind of look at this that another trade that we already talked about is like inside of this trade.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
seeing that as well. I'm looking at the same website you are now.
yeah, so
That's weird.
I'm just gonna read it. I'm gonna start at the bottom and read it upwards so that we so you're gonna hear things that you already heard, but this is the full Jimmy Butler trade. Raptors receive PJ Tucker from the Jazz, 2026 second round pick from the Heat, and cash considerations from the Heat. Pistons receive Lindy Waters III from the Warriors and Dennis Schroeder from the Jazz from the Warriors. In 2023, second round pick from the Warriors. The Jazz receive Josh Richardson from the Heat, KJ Martin from the Pistons via the 76ers, 2028 second round pick via Pistons, 2031 second round pick via Heat, and cash considerations via Heat. The Heat receive Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and Davion Mitchell from the Raptors. 2025 protected first round pick from the Warriors. The Warriors receive Jimmy Butler, 2 second round picks from the Heat, and cash considerations from the Heat. So I
That
think
changes the whole complexity of the Warriors. My bad to cut you off, but I thought we just had to
no,
go
you're
off
right. It
there
definitely
with one
does change the Warriors a lot. I was just gonna say after that, it became official that this was probably the craziest trade deadline ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, without a
Especially
doubt.
because like now the Jimmy Butler saga is over. Like it's been going all year, and we thought that it might not end. I think a lot of
Mhm.
us started to think, especially after that Zach trade, because it felt like Zach LaVine had to be kind of a part of that trade for contracts to match throughout the league. That maybe Butler was gonna have to stay with the Heat for this year and then leave in the offseason or something like that. And then
Especially Sorry, I was
No,
going to say,
you're
especially
good.
because he told the Warriors that he's not going to re-sign with them in the offseason. So this trade
Literally.
was kind of off the table.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
felt
you
that
can't-
way. Even
Right.
though when the talks very first started, the Warriors were one of his first trade destinations. So he was very back and forth, and it seemed like he was saying that what I've heard that he was saying that he wouldn't re-sign with the Warriors so then he could get the trade price down. So
Yeah,
then the
and I
Warriors, so then the Warriors could tell
wow.
the Heat, hey, I mean, he said he's not going to re-sign to us, but we'll buy into this, and then boom, instantly
I think
resign,
I
like
Yeah, that's the thing
instantly,
too. He didn't resign in the offseason. He resigned before the trade deadline.
literally
I think
instantly. Like,
Yeah.
I think what's it called? I think this was a well thought out and plotted out ploy to get out of the Heat without being able to get them some superstars back. I
no
think
doubt.
Jimmy Butler was on some spiteful, you're not getting shit from me. I'm leaving and you're not getting shit back. And that's not no diss to Aaron Wiggins, or I mean not Aaron Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins and a lot of those guys. But like in terms of what Jimmy Butler brings to the team when he's on, you didn't get shit back for him. So I think this whole ploy was just him being messy and playing the politics to their strong suit. Like they expect players to be quiet and respectful. I think he kind of did it loud and messy, and I think that he got his trade price to come down. And
Yeah.
now look,
And
he's in a situation where he really likes it. So I feel like that was like very solid. And I feel like some people kind of count Jimmy Butler out and be like, oh, he's ass. But it's like we all know personally from like watching that shit with our favorite teams, when Jimmy Butler wants to play, he's the best player in the league. So
bro,
I
Jimmy
think that
Butler has been the Bucks' worst nightmare.
For like
exactly.
5 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
I'm
think
thrilled.
him going to the Warriors is dangerous. I feel like that changes the whole complexity of the Warriors. I think that immediately makes them a playoff threat for real. Because what Jimmy Butler can do, and what Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry can do together, plus Draymond Green, I feel like Jimmy Butler is that piece that Steph needed to have that energy transferred back and forth. Because Draymond can't give Steph the energy that he needs to kind of get going. Because once Steph hit a clutch three, Jimmy Butler can go down and take some good defense, get a nice rebound, get a nice steal, or even make a nice play himself, like on the fast break, which will keep that momentum moving. So I think that's just going to play a huge role for the Warriors, and I'm kind of wishing the best for them. Like I'm actually like excited to see them like in the
Yeah.
playoffs this year because I feel like that changes a lot for them guys. And it sucks that Clay is not there for that because I feel like had they kept Clay, this would be a great situation for Clay to be in
I didn't even
also.
think of that.
But yeah, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, Clay,
Yeah, that's
Clay,
tough.
Jimmy, and Steph and Dre would have been nice,
That'd
but
be crazy.
And that's something too. You see Draymond out on the court, like coaching Jimmy their plays like in the game because they
Yeah.
never really got to practice. And it's just, I don't know, cool to see Draymond out there like, hey, go stand over there. And Jimmy's like, of course, man. Like, you know the
Yeah.
plays.
Mm,
And it's also as a duo, they've got to be have the most finals experience in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
LeBron and Luca. I don't care if Luca's only been in one finals. LeBron's got more finals like experience
We
than
talking
that whole entire
All
league.
right, that's
guess.
fair. That is
But I'm
kind of
talking
what I
about,
didn't.
But if you
no,
take out
no.
LeBron,
No.
yes.
But we talk about but we talking about as a duo, like two players playing together, going to battle together. They have the most experience.
Are you saying Dre
like
and Steph?
Dre and Steph.
No,
Like,
I'm
I
saying
thought he
Jimmy
was.
Butler and
Yeah.
Steph are the
I
duo
think
that has
talking
the
about
most
Dre.
finals experience because you got Steph
Okay.
Curry. I mean, he's a 4-time champion. You got Jimmy Butler, who's been to the finals twice in some pretty like heartfelt battles where he was one of the hardest working people on the planet on those days.
Sure.
So yeah, you just put that together. But you're right with the LeBron and Luca. I mean,
Yeah,
LeBron's
that's just a
obviously
cheat
been.
code. Yeah.
Well, let me think though.
What, he had 10 straight, bro.
Okay, so we're at 11. Jimmy Butler's been
Well,
there
but then there was more
twice.
after that because he just had 10 straight and then missed one with the Lakers because he didn't even make the playoffs that one year. And
Yeah,
then,
and
then he went to the Lakers. So it's like 12.
I'm pretty sure it was
it's
9.
either-
I'm pretty sure it was 9 straight, 10 total.
okay, maybe. Yeah. It could be. I'm not 100% sure. I just thought it was 10 straight.
I guess we don't even really need to fact check it, but Jimmy Butler and Steph I'm gonna give it to him anyways.
They're
not
at
gonna
least
lie.
second, at least.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
tough
for
one
sure.
with the LeBron and the Luca. I also take into consideration the power rankings that I'm feeling that we're gonna talk about later. So it's kind of
You're trying to push that agenda up right now, so then it doesn't look
you
so
know me.
crazy when you call him number 2.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Raptors land Brandon
Oh, one
Ingram.
sec. Before you say this, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say that I think Jimmy Butler and Draymond playing together is going to be a lot nicer than a lot of people think because
Oh
of
yeah,
just like that dog mentality that guys have both like spoken on. That I think obviously it's kind of quite clear that Steph and Jimmy can play super well together and that that's going to work out. But him playing with Dre, I think might unlock a little bit out of Dre. Not like anything new, but might make him look a little bit like younger Dre and help him get that energy that you were saying that like he doesn't really get, that Steph doesn't really get from Draymond as much anymore. And Jimmy
Mhm.
might really give that to all of them because like you said, Michael, like this dude was like the hardest working man on the planet some nights for the
Yeah.
Heat. So to think that he's happy in another system, he's gonna do it again. I mean, what like that's just who he is. He's gonna go out there and
He
hit
gonna
them
give it his
dog food.
all,
Right.
yeah.
which
But
is
I just
like,
wanted to say that quick that I think like him playing with Draymond is going to help Draymond have a really nice second half of this season too, and
I
people
agree.
start giving him a bit more respect because I feel like the Draymond conversation is kind of taking a dip down. People don't really care about Draymond anymore unless he's doing something antics
There's a lot of
wise.
kids in the conversation too that like literally weren't there when that Warriors dynasty was going on, so they actually don't know what it was like.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a big question mark on the are Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green thing gonna work. But I totally agree with you. I think that it could definitely be really good for both of them, especially because they have like a respect for one another for being that way.
Yeah, you know what I
Um,
mean? Yeah. Especially just being on a team now. Yeah. Like you would think that
mhm.
they're like, oh yeah, dude, like we play the same way. We're trying to get in people's heads, be annoying, play crazy good defense, and then play some good offense on the other side. More
And
in
bro, they
Jimmy
might even
Butler's
fall in
sense.
love. I mean, you never know.
You never know, dude. Dramey?
So Brandon Ingram goes to the Raptors. The Pelicans in return get Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, first round pick and second round pick. Good look for the Raptors.
Yeah,
Kind of.
honestly, I love this for the Raptors. I'm not gonna lie. It helps push them in a direction to give them a guy that they can give the ball for sure at certain moments because let's not forget, Brandon Ingram is an amazing basketball player. I am
Mhm.
totally convinced that everybody just started hating it in New Orleans and they just won out. Like I'm convinced that everybody started hating the system because let's be honest, when they got CJ McCollum, did any of us believe that CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson was gonna make a deep push?
No,
No,
I didn't.
exactly right. There was crickets there for a second. That's how much we didn't think that it was going to
Yeah.
happen.
It's
So
like I literally didn't even care, not gonna lie.
right, exactly. Like I don't think anybody cared. So I think that's kind of how it is with Brandon Ingram and Zion. Like you see these guys, they have good games and good performances still, but it just didn't seem like they had the heart in New Orleans anymore. So I think seeing him with a team that I mean, they're the only team in Canada. Let's be honest. Everybody that plays for Toronto talks about how their crowd is some of the best like crowds in the NBA, let alone in sports, because it's a whole entire nation behind that team right there. So if Brandon Ingram can get that crowd behind him and whatnot, I could see him being an all-star again, having great games again, hitting game winners again, going crazy, and then having Scotty around him. Fred Van Vliet to help out or no, he's over on the Rockets now. I'm tripping, but you know what I'm saying. Just other guys. Chill. Other
yeah.
guys, other
I've been doing
guys.
that sort of thing all the time, bro. I'm like, he used to
Especially
be
because the
there.
red and
And they're
black, it
both
Stop it.
gets me
wearing red.
so
Yeah,
much.
that I was
Yeah,
gonna
I'm gonna
say.
have a
They're
slip up. I'm
both
gonna have a
wearing
slip up one of
red.
these days.
So like all his pictures are the same.
yeah,
It
for
still
real.
looks
It's
exactly the
just the
same.
logo that's different,
Right.
like the city
Yeah.
name. But
Bro, I 100% hear you on that. I'd be doing that.
it's so tough. But no, yeah, with that team built around him, with like RJ Barrett next to him, like really great role players to help that team out. I think this Raptors team, not necessarily this year, of course, but maybe next year after a couple more offseason moves and acquisitions, I think they could be a really good team, like a Rockets team right now or something like that. That's not necessarily the best in their conference, but maybe like a fourth, fifth, like really making a good push and making it known that they're going to be a playoff team for years to come.
Right.
I feel like his first day on the Raptors, he looked very uninterested, and that might have with something to do with the mixed feelings about being traded from Pelicans. But just like I felt like their first practice and the game, he just is like not there mentally. So that just kind of gave me like some guys like Jimmy Butler, he was all smiles when he got traded, but that's because
I was
it
about to
worked out in his
touch on
favor.
that. Not looking like interested in being there. Did y'all, real quick to touch back on that Butler trade? Did y'all see Andrew Wiggins at the like drumming thing that the Heat were doing when he was just like,
Yeah, it's
No,
like
bro, I did not peep
you
it.
didn't
I
see that?
watched
You
that
should look
drumming
that
thing,
up
but I
after.
didn't look. I didn't see that. I didn't peep Andrew Wiggins
Yeah,
specifically.
dude. Like,
yeah,
there's a
he was
camera
not.
that's like over on his side, like looking at him
Yeah,
most of the time, and he's literally just like,
This is bullshit.
yeah, he's
I
like,
don't know
dude,
why
I
they
don't want to
expected him
be
to do
here.
that. Yeah, it's like I don't know these guys.
Yeah,
That's like
literally, like it's
you're
probably his
not dissing
first
them, but it's
day with
like
these guys. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
it's really weird that they made him go and do that. Like, they probably haven't even practiced together, and they're like, hey, buddy, go get in
Yeah,
a drumming circle with all these random dudes that have been here for years.
It's also just
yeah,
like being on the other end of, like we've said, the like hot controversial trade that was coming to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Just like being the guy
yeah.
that ended up getting traded for Jimmy Butler kind of stings, you know.
Especially when you got to think all the players in the Warriors probably thought that they were safe after Jimmy was like, I'm not re signing there. And then
Yeah,
boom, it just happens.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
like I can
just,
see how that's got to be tough, you know.
For sure.
just,
But back to what you were saying, that
I
Brandon
yeah,
Ingram didn't seem too interested and whatnot.
yeah. And I think personally he's in a win now situation where he wants to go compete at a high level. I don't think and I think his uninterestedness comes from him not being interested in another rebuild. I think he's ready to go to a contender and be on a team that has a culture established already, which that sucks for him. But he also has the opportunity to be a cornerstone for this team. I'm pretty sure he's the guy that they're going to build around for sure. I think him and Scotty are like their top two, and I think everybody else is going to have to fit into that role. So, that was just my initial thought, like seeing him first day, like when they introduced him to the practice, like they was like, we have a new player, and he just didn't even smile. It was just like,
That's kind of his demeanor, though. You know what I mean? He's a very straight faced, like just mellowed
It's
out
got to be
dude.
tough though. Like
but
It's got to be
you're in a
tough.
terrible rebuild situation and you get put in another not so great rebuild situation, and
yeah,
it's
I
like,
mean, he'd been there since the Lakers dumped him off in that LeBron shit. So
yeah,
right,
for
like he's
sure.
been rebuilding basically his entire
That's what
career.
I'm saying. So like, it's that idea of like, nah, I'm not trying to do this shit again. Like I'm trying to go compete at a high level,
that's why
and
you gotta.
I feel like Brandon Ingram would have fit better in Philly than like Paul George.
That
Or I think
actually would have been a pretty good look.
I think he also would look good on the Spurs. Also, I think I was talking to John Bladel yesterday about that, and he's probably gonna watch the pod. So shout out to you, John. But yeah, it was just that idea of like I think Brandon Ingram will play really good in the Spurs system because they kind of slower pace like right now, which probably gonna change up now that they just got Swiper and he can play at a very fast level, and then but I just think that like those were some good situations for him in terms of his best option. I mean, opportunity to win now or win within the next 1 or 2 years instead of this kind of 3-4 year process that it might take the Raptors, because they are pretty far off with their pieces. They have Scotty and they have BI right now, and that's like the best things working for them. Everybody else is kind of expendable in my eyes, personally. If I was like their GM,
I hear that.
I feel like RJ hasn't really come into like what he was supposed to. I feel like he's kind of caught up in trying to be that guy, and I think
You think so?
he can be a guy. I think he's a guy. Well, I haven't kept much of an eye on him since he left the Knicks, but I know that was his thing on the Knicks, was like
For
he's
sure.
continuously trying to be the guy.
He was always
So
trying to
it's
be
like,
like a number 2 or number 1 option for that
yeah,
team.
it's
Yeah.
like you are number 3, and I feel like that's like no disrespect. I'm not saying like I'm better than these guys, but we all like what I've heard from a lot of players is like I wish I would have realized earlier that I wasn't that guy, and I wish I had more people that told me I wasn't him.
Yeah.
I was spending my life trying to chase being number 1 when I could have settled into being number 2 or 3 and been a champion by now. But
Right.
now I'm just a guy that was good, and I don't have shit to show for it, kind of, sort of. So I just feel like that BI situation is. I don't think it's probably the best for him right now. for him personally. It's good for the team, but I think for BI and his personal goals, I feel like this definitely was a step back for him.
I can agree with that. Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, almost getting yourself into another rebuild that's just a little bit farther down the line than what the one you were in was. I mean,
Yeah, at
arguably
least you
even
had
maybe
Zion.
I was about to say arguably even maybe more behind than that one
It
was
is.
because you
Yeah,
But you
literally
it's
had,
hard
had
to say.
Zion and you just tried to build
and
a
you
whole
had
team around
DeJounte
that.
Murray too,
Yep, CJ
who like,
McCollum, like they've been trying stuff like
yeah. So,
Right.
So I can
yeah,
hear
that's
that.
the
Yeah, it's definitely a step back for Brandon Ingram's career, but for the Raptors, I mean, if he buys
yeah, it's
into it and
huge.
gets it, yeah, I mean, that's gonna
Yeah.
be great for them.
Hopefully he does too. Like hopefully he comes
Because I
into
want to
it
see some
and kind
BI
of
back
buys
in the
into it.
headlines, man. I love me
Yeah,
some BI. That Slenderman
me too.
looking KD type.
I was gonna say, man, he
Yeah,
might,
dude.
bro. My three was KD, Cam Reddish, and Bi. Those was like I was like those like the three. Well, those were the two baby KDs, and it
Yup.
just kind of didn't pan out, that well for him.
BI
I feel
had a
like the
couple
Lakers,
years though, and
yeah,
anytime he looks good, he honestly does look
yeah,
like a baby KD. Like the game is actually kind of scarily similar, especially with how
yeah.
skinny they are and like the
I would say
sway
LeBron should
back
have
and
capped
It
him.
forth.
really just is situational. Like you can tell
LeBron
that
should
when
have
you
capped
watch him
him.
play. There's like a degree of laziness, but that's just because of the situation he's in. And like, what are you
Yeah,
gonna do? Like you were saying, it's kind of like, what are you gonna do anyways?
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, so last trade, Wizards acquire Marcus Smart from the Grizzlies, along with Colby Jones from the Kings, Alex Len from the Kings, and a 2025 first round pick from the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies get 2 second-round picks, Marvin Bagley III from the Wizards, Johnny Davis from the Wizards, and the Kings receive Jack LaRavia.
Jake LaRavia.
Yeah,
I
Laravia.
said Jack, bro. That's
Yeah.
how bad I am at reading. Jake
That's why I was like, let me
LaRavia
just cut in real quick.
via
Sorry, Jake.
Grizzlies.
We
Yeah,
love
bro.
you, Jake.
We love you, Jake.
Mhm.
No, but
But yeah.
honestly, this is the one, like I said, that made me feel like the Wizards are starting to move into that direction. That first one was
Yeah.
good, and I was like, okay, they're starting to do stuff. But this one, I really loved. Getting Marcus Smart from the Grizzlies and getting a guy that can, yeah, that is beautiful for them.
Yeah,
I
you add
already
some
saw
defense.
game one when he was in his warm-ups and they were walking back from halftime. I don't know if you guys saw it. He's teaching Jordan Poole stuff and teaching Jordan Poole how to be a better player. I don't think Jordan Poole is going to be on the Wizards in a couple years. This isn't a guy that they're going to buy into their system with. If anything, this is a guy that they're going to try and trade off for as much value as they can to get themselves into a rebuild, because I don't think
Yeah.
Jordan Poole necessarily wants to be in a rebuild at this point in his career. He kind of got blessed with very young success being with the Warriors and getting to win championships, or at least one, I can't remember. But
Yeah, I think he only won one.
okay, so yeah, I mean, it's going to be like very obvious in my opinion that like they move forward from Jordan Poole eventually. But it's still
Yeah.
really cool to see Marcus Smart already buying into being on a rebuilding team and helping these young guys out and teaching them things that they'll carry on for the rest of their careers. And that's just something you love to see from a team that needs to get vets, young guys, and picks. And that's exactly what they got from this trade. Marcus Smart and Alex Len as vets. Colby Jones, I've never heard of him, so I'm assuming he's a young guy. Sorry to you, but I just don't know who you are. And then a 2025 first round pick for the Grizzlies, another pick. So, I mean, you got to love it.
Yeah, bro's 22.
Right. So,
But yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I could see myself kind of following the Wizards a little bit now, mostly because of Middleton, of course, but also like you said, Marcus Smart is a nice piece, and he's a good veteran that can really teach young guys. And they got a lot of good young guys, good young guards. Plus, they got Alex Sarr. So I feel like they're definitely like an up and coming team who, like we've been saying, so they're making the right decisions, and I am kind of excited to see where they go going forward, which I never thought I'd say about the Wizards, but I did.
no, I
Just
thought
now.
they were going to stay in Hornets purgatory forever, but it seems like
I
they're
thought they
taking
were
the
going to
hint.
turn into a different team. Like they were going to become the Vegas team or something.
That's honestly a
before
valid
they
take. I'm
ever-
not going to
like,
lie.
Before they ever came back, I thought they were just going to leave the league, which is sorry, Washington fans. Such a hard take, but yeah. But yeah, that's every single trade, according to NBA.com, that happened last week.
Since our last pod.
Yeah.
For real. Crazy.
That was the craziest trade deadline of all time for
History,
sure. Like
yeah.
that was it was a lot of big pieces being moved. A lot of I'll give you my cupcake for your chips going on.
That's true. That's true.
Which one of y'all said that in the group chat?
That was me, bro.
That was him.
I was saying that before I logged on. I just kept saying it.
That shit was good,
for your
man.
chips. Like that. Like a lot of people got fleeced, but I feel like a lot of people. I mean, a lot of general managers in front office probably just came to the realization that they just want to get these guys off. More than we want to get these pieces back immediately, we would rather get these guys off of our hand and just start our process. Because I feel like it would have been harder to move a lot of these pieces if they would have really asked for what they felt, what the front offices felt they were worth. Because we have a different view of what we think players are worth than what the front offices think. So I think it was cool to see like a lot of these guys get shipped off, except for Luka and AD.
Yeah,
that one was nuts. Like
Yeah,
I understand shipping off AD, but shipping off Luka, bro, Nico Harrison, my boy, you should be fired. I swear to God. Off that trade, he should have got fired. He should have got.
I'm pretty sure he is gonna get fired. Like I haven't heard anybody say that. I just feel like, come on.
And the fact that it got out that the Lakers talked down the Mavericks to not having to add in Dalton Connect to the deal because of his condition. They talked the Mavericks into saying that
about it, it was done deal.
Bro, his last assistant man was 270 pounds. That's not what 270 pounds look like on a 6'7" body, bro.
No.
Like, Giannis is like 250, and he's like, come on, bro. Like, I think that was definitely.
Mavs, I don't know. Dude's not gonna find another job in basketball. Yeah. That's the thing. Nobody else is gonna.
He's had two of the biggest f ups in NBA history, losing Curry and then that.
Right, like. Bro's not even going to be coaching or going to be the GM for Tel Aviv's team, you know? Like nobody that knows basketball.
He ain't going to China, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, China don't want nothing to do with him. Bro might as well just start being an athletic director when you can't make trades.
But I was going to say this is like as close to a real life like 2K fantasy simulation where everybody ends up on a random team and it's a completely new league as you can get.
Yeah,
and
no
you got
doubt.
Luka on the Lakers, Jimmy on the Warriors, Middleton on the Wizards. It's just like a bunch of De'Aaron Fox on the Spurs, Zach LaVine on the Kings. So many looks that you're like, this ain't even the same league I was watching last month.
Literally, bro. This literally not the same league that we were just watching 2-3 weeks ago. Like, this shit is different and it's beautiful. I hope the competitive edge come back to the NBA. Like, that's what I miss. I miss those killers, bro. Like, I miss those dudes. I don't want no friends.
I think one rivalry that I can already see happening, and it might not be team to team, but Luka's going to go off on the Mavericks every time they play. Luka is already, there's already reports coming out that Luka feels more motivated than ever hearing that the Mavericks were unpleased with his conditioning and this, that, and the other. Like, brother just brought y'all to the finals while dealing with injuries.
While being 24 years old doing it.
While dealing with injuries. And you're worried about the motherfucker's conditioning?
Because he drink beer?
Because he hit the hookah?
Like, bro, half of the 90s was on coke, man, bro.
Like, what are we doing, bro?
Like, come on, man. Like, half of the 90s was on coke in the NBA. And you mad because my boy likes to drink a little beer and eat a little food? Like, bro, mans was still going out there and doing his thing. Like, let's be real. Like, and then I'm mad that they lied about him being 270.
Yeah,
like, that man is not 270. He might be 250 at the most. But that man is not no 270 pounds, bro. That would look so much different. That's 30 pounds under 300. And we saw what Shaq looked like at 300. So, like, let's be for real. Like, you see what Embiid looks like being 270. I think Embiid is like 270, 280. Embiid is way thicker than that man. So it's like, pause. But, but yeah, bro. And B is a bigger player than him. Tight. but yeah, I think that was definitely capped that man was 270 pounds. I feel like that was a tactic to get the price down, and Nico probably trying to save his job, being like, he was 270 pounds. We don't want him. Shit, that's 270 pounds. Get me him with 270. Shit. That boy got out to the finals. Got out to the finals at like 24 years old. Like, come on, bro. Along with the other pieces, but
Luka's
like
been
trade off,
upgraded to probable versus the Jazz.
like trade
He's trying
fucking
to dodge ESPN so bad, bro. ESPN's trying to put Luca's first Lakers game on national television, and Luca's like, nah. Next one, actually. Next one.
yeah.
So funny. But yeah, catch a little break. When we get back, we'll talk about those top performances and our top 10. So yeah. All right. Swinging back into things. We're going to talk about some top performances of the week. I was going to bring up the Lakers right away and just kind of the new look because actually, even rewind. I know we mentioned this last week, but the Lakers looked good without Anthony Davis for those couple games before Luka showed up. And they've been like a winning team this season.
Yeah, for real. That game versus the Pacers, I think you're referring to, with Austin Reeves going off without Luka yet arriving, of course, and no LeBron that game. Reeves going off for 45, 7 and 7, and then even Rui Hachimura having a pretty good game for himself with 24 points and 9 rebounds in that game. So definitely really nice to see the two role players of that team that I think the Lakers kind of, especially with Rui. I mean, Austin Reeves, we know at this point that he can go off for something like this when he needs to and when he's feeling hot. But Rui's kind of been that big question mark of them, that they really wanted him because he's like a big, fun point forward type of guy. I guess not point, but you know what I'm saying? Like, can move like a point forward. He's not so much of
Yeah.
like a stocky big man, but he's more of like a small forward type of movement at least. But he still plays that power forward position based off of size and whatnot. But him having a really good game behind Austin Reeves and his big performance is really nice for them. I think looking forward, especially after that Mark Williams trade got rescinded, I think you don't have to feel as worried as a Laker fan. I mean, of course, there's still that big hole in the big man position, losing Anthony Davis and not really getting a big man back whatsoever. But you don't have to be as
Right.
worried. It seems like this team will still be a very good team despite them having that hole. It just depends on if they can flex around other teams come playoff time.
Yeah, one big difference that they have is I think before one of their biggest things holding them back was personnel. And like obviously the Lakers fan base feels that way about D'Angelo Russell. And so that's why D'Angelo Russell got moved a little while back.
Yeah.
And we all know the like greatness that Anthony Davis has, but I mean, look, he played one game with the Mavericks and he's out indefinitely. So that's also a liability that's been holding the Lakers back. And so they kind of got rid of those, and they only have like good, reliable players at this point. Yes, they have a hole in the center position. You have to rely on Jackson Hayes, Christian Wood, and just people that you're not used to relying on as a starter. But like you said, you don't really have to worry about that because you see Austin Reeves go off for 45. You have Luka, you have LeBron, you have Rui, you have Dalton's back. Like he's a good player, Jared Vanderbilt. Like it's just a kind of well-built team. Even though there's a hole, they all are going to be able to produce to the best of their ability. Yeah, so the Lakers are definitely a hot team.
I feel like Dalton coming back is a good situation for him. I guess it's not a good situation with when Luka comes back, but like having Luka still out right now, I think it's a good little place for Dalton to be in because I feel like it allows him to kind of get the ball more in his hands and get to make plays a little bit more, which I feel like he was pretty much coming into that. His last stretch of games with the Lakers looked pretty well. I think he's like I got to pull it up. He was putting up 14, 10, 24, 13, 13. So I feel like he was kind of getting in some sort of a rhythm before they traded him. So I think that's dope that he's coming back and that trade was rescinded. And hopefully they can figure out a way to work him into that system alongside Luka. I feel like Rui hasn't been what they want him to be, but it always doesn't work out that way when you get players to play in certain systems. But yeah, I just feel like that's definitely been a huge piece of that kind of their failure. I feel like they kind of put a lot of chips in the Rui Hachimura basket, and it didn't turn out well. Which, like, I low key wish that I low key hope that Rui came to this team and went well because I really enjoyed watching Rui when he was on the Wizards. I feel like he had a lot of potential, and I feel like it's kind of hard to play alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis because I feel like you know what's expected of you when you're playing with those guys, and I feel like a lot of players probably don't be able to like settle into that enough. Like I feel like players want the smoke, but when it's really that smoke time, I feel like they kind of get a little scared because like when you're playing alongside AD and LeBron James, you know that they're trying to compete for a championship. They're not rebuilding. We're not buying. We are strictly contending. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of people don't kind of fit into that light well. I feel like sometimes.
No, yeah, I hear you on all the points you make, especially with it's going to be nice for Dalton actually to play with the Lakers, I think, because I don't think I saw him as being a guy that was going to go to the Hornets and necessarily just like take off and do crazy things.
Yeah.
So I think it will be really nice for his career per se. It might not be as good for the Lakers because, like you said, I mean, they have that hole at center, and I mean, they're gonna have kind of an overabundance at guards once Luka's back with just the guys that they actually want to play and whatnot. But it'll be really good for his career playing behind Luka, playing with Austin Reeves, who hasn't been in the league for a long time, but can teach Dalton how to like play in that system where you're not necessarily a number one guy, but every once in a while you can go off really for a big night, like how Austin did in this game that we're referring to. And another thing I wanted to touch on just real quick with that game, just stats on the other side. Pascal with 23, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds, and the Pacers had 7 guys in double digits that game, so it's definitely really good to see the Lakers without any of their stars to be able to take on a full team effort by the Pacers and still end up winning by 7 points. The final score was 117-124, so that's definitely a really good thing that you like to see when you're trying to completely switch up the whole entire system of your team and neither of your stars are in, that they can actually come out and win a game like that.
Yeah, so kind of the flip side of the trade, the Anthony Davis debut.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that was a pretty impressive display, especially the first half.
Yeah,
I know we were kind of like texting each other while we were watching it, just kind of stunned at how Anthony Davis went out there and really dominated the game. Like was his team for that short period of time.
Yeah. Him yelling "I am here" and whatnot, that felt like it was going to be crazy, man. Like, I'm so sad that he's out now for a bit of time because that really felt good.
Really
but yes,
that's so Anthony Davis though. Like,
for real.
What do we expect? Like, I'm not shitting on it, but like,
no, yeah.
What did we expect? Like,
and that's actually what we were like talking about right when you hopped in the Zoom before we started recording. Was we were talking about how like it's so Anthony Davis to get injured, and like there's probably some sort of like between friends, some sort of like off the books exchange. Like, I bet you Anthony Davis is going to get injured in his first game, and they actually made money off of it.
Yeah, probably. Man's dropped 26, 16, 7 assists, 3 blocks.
And 3 blocks, yeah.
Like the first quarter was immaculate. Like,
yeah.
That was strong. Like, he brought the intensity, brought the energy. Like, and it was in Dallas too. Just like the energy in that building was damn near as if it was the finals. Like,
yeah.
That shit felt like playoff.
Because there were people rioting outside because they were still mad about the trade and shit. They didn't even like know about that shit.
Yeah, they didn't even know.
Yeah.
They didn't even know that Anthony Davis has arrived.
And not only that, but Max Christie had a good game himself there too, bro. He had 23 points, 2 assists, 2 boards there. Like, going from not really getting much minutes over in LA to like really getting some shine over in Dallas and getting to see what he can do, like, that was really awesome. And to see both of their new acquisitions come in and just ball out, especially when on the other side, the Rockets were still doing really good. Sengun with 33 assists and 8 boards. Jalen Green with 24 points, 6 assists, 3 boards. And Amen Thompson with 20 points, 5 assists and 7 boards. Like, those are really good stat lines altogether. And then to see like the new additions coming out and like actually winning a game against another team going out, especially a Rockets team that's let's see, fourth in the West. Like that's a really good win to get with your new acquisitions right off rip. But then, as we said,
and before Anthony Davis debuted, but Luka's already gone. The Mavs played the Celtics, and they won that game too. So it just goes to show that like this Mavs team is more than just Luka. I mean, we knew that, but we really see it now.
no, yeah, it really started to look like it was really good for both sides on the trade until AD got the injury and he left early, and now he's out indefinitely, and now all of us are like, well, is that it? Is that what it's going to be now for the rest of this storyline for the Mavericks and Anthony Davis? I mean, what do you guys think? Is it just going to be this?
I hope not, man.
Oh yeah, I hope not.
I mean, of course we hope not, but I hate to say it. It just feels very
I think
normal of AD to, and I'm not, like we said, it's not, we don't hope for this. We love watching AD play. I mean, he's one of the most electrifying guys on the court when he's going off. He's dropping like 50, 20, and like 6 blocks. Like he's going crazy. Defensive player of the year / MVP type caliber if he went off like that every single night. But
honestly, I don't think it's that much to worry about. I think it's just really unfortunate timing for him because it really is just like a groin injury. So
far this year, he had been playing very well all year.
Yeah.
Right. So like over the last couple could really just be like he needs to like manage this injury, but it's not going to be a devastating injury. Like it's not going to affect his play when he comes back.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's anything
just like
major.
Bad timing. You just got to work through this over like a couple months at the most. And then come back and be ready for the playoffs. And even if the Mavs don't make a deep run, it's still like their first go as a team. So next season they could come back and be a very scary Mavericks team, and we would completely forget about this injury. I think that's the most likely scenario.
I could definitely see that, yeah.
There are Anthony Davis haters, though, that I bet are like rooting for this downfall and are just pumped about it. Even on the Mavericks fan base probably feel that way.
I'm sure there's some guys on the Mavericks fan base that are feeling very upset about this trade after all of it.
Which to a degree makes them kind of happy that Anthony Davis ended up getting injured. Not like they're rooting for him to be downfall, but they're like, see, Nico?
Yeah.
See what, and they're kind of like, I told you so type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I really like Max Christie right now.
You've been saying that.
And another thing to mention off that game was the Mavericks had 6 guys in double digits. So another thing to what you had said, Michael, on the game that they had versus the Celtics, like even without their stars playing really great or whatever, their role players have been buying into like playing more important of a role now that Luka's gone and the big head is gone. But keep going. Sorry.
I think realistically, with Luka being gone, it sucks. It sucks to have the leader of the team and a guy so special and so talented be traded away. But it does mean more opportunity for the rest of those guys.
No, yeah.
It's also like now
you're the realistic truth.
Like your best guard is Kyrie Irving, and nobody's complaining about that. Like no team is ever going to be like, dang, my best option's only Kyrie. Like you got to be thrilled to have Kyrie as your guy handling the ball. I guess this situation does really put a damper on Kyrie being the main ball. Like you lost Luka, so that's a bummer. But
I guess if you're comparing it to what you had, it's a tough situation.
But that's why they say comparison is of the devil, man. You compare it directly, and you're never going to appreciate Kyrie. When really this is going to be kind of good for Kyrie because he can. I don't know, I'm just but I'm happy to see Kyrie with more of a role anyways. That is like a bittersweet positive of the scenario.
I'm very excited to see Kyrie get back into his team leadership role because I think that's some of the best basketball to watch in recent years. Was like my favorite Kyrie was Kyrie on the Celtics. So
really,
it's a fun one. I don't know if I can agree though.
Yeah, favorite is crazy, but all right.
It was my favorite personally. I think I wouldn't really
for him to end up going over and stomping on Lucky. That's crazy to say that's your favorite. That's his least favorite.
But I'm talking about in terms of like when Kyrie went there, like tell me that wasn't like the crazy Kyrie. That's when like he really tapped into his bag. That's when he got more comfortable in who he was and like being different from the NBA.
There could be some truth to that.
I hear you.
That's like I feel like that's when he became a man. If I'm being honest, that like if you see the way he like balled, that's when he like was doing the crazy dribble moves and like doing the crazy like stuff. It was like the Cavs was great. Like I'm not saying that wasn't a great time, but like I wasn't really a Cavs fan in that era. So for me, it was like Kyrie was great. Kyrie was my happy spot with the Cavs during that run. So, but to see him go and have his own team post LeBron, I felt like that was like my favorite version of Kyrie.
Yeah, I
And
was
the
always a
Celtics
big Kyrie guy. Just me and him like that. I swear, bro. I love
But
Kyrie.
my whole point was gonna say that Max Christie over these last 3 games with the Mavs is averaging almost 18 points, 51, 51% shooting, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. I feel like that's great. I feel like
Yeah, and he was in that game against the Celtics too. Before
But yeah,
Anthony Davis left.
he had 15 points in that game, and that's huge for him considering he was very limited in what he could do over there on the Lakers. So I'm happy that he kind of gets his opportunity to play like significant minutes. Like he hasn't played less than 30 minutes since he went over to the Mavericks. And I feel like that's pretty good for him. And I'm excited to see what Max Christie could do once he grows into that role of being maybe like starter. Like we might see him starting consistently. And I think if they continue to build to build up his confidence, I feel like that will work numbers for the team because that boy can shoot and he can facilitate also. So I think that I feel like that's one of the upsides of that trade is the potential of Max Christie. Probably not Max Christie right now, but the potential of what you can mold that guy into. And plus, he came into the league around LeBron James, Anthony Davis during the championship days. So I feel like he's seen greatness. He's seen what that looks like to be around. So I feel like now that he has his own time to like be away from the media and the scrutiny, I think that he can like really blossom into something.
I like that.
But yeah, Celtics Kyrie though, that
Yeah.
what would y'all
I
have
don't
to
know,
say
man.
there?
Give me Uncle Drew.
Well,
Give me Uncle Drew hitting the game winner over Golden State.
Yeah, that's gotta be his most iconic moment.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
because that's
I
the
just
same
don't
playoff
that
series where
Kyrie.
he hits Curry with the half circle and he shakes the fuck out of him and then hits that fader. That's on the Cavs, bro. That half
Arguably the
shimmy
Finals
and
MVP.
like. But that's just me. Like I said, I've been a Kyrie fan since like day one. Me and him share the same birthday, so like I just felt
Well,
connected.
I wouldn't say that it was like the best Kyrie with the Celtics, but my favorite to watch was Celtics Kyrie.
No, yeah, I mean,
The best Kyrie definitely was unarguably the Cavs Kyrie. That 2016, 2015, 2016 Kyrie was like that was the best Kyrie. Like that was him in his Super Saiyan mode. He arguably saved LeBron. Well, he didn't. I'm not even gonna say LeBron on some hate shit. He arguably saved the Cavs whole season by coming through in the Eastern Conference and coming through on that clutch shot in the finals.
oh yeah,
Because I feel like had he not made that shot, Steph would have might have hit his shot, the shot that Steph needed to make.
because
But
they
I
would
feel
have
like
felt a little
Kyrie,
better about it.
yeah, but I feel like Kyrie hitting that shit made the nerves come of like, oh shit, I
Because
have to
wasn't
hit
there an
this
instant
shot.
timeout after that, and everybody was freaking out? Like LeBron and Kyrie
Yeah.
were like freaking out, like they already won the finals at that point.
Yeah.
So after you get to like watch them doing that on the court, it's like, now I gotta go hit this shot.
Yeah, then
that's
Steph
tough.
come and like they try to force it. God, I wish the refs was in their pocket.
Kind of spinning off the Celtics.
Okay.
Got
the Celtics Knicks game.
See. Yeah, the Celtics.
So
Knicks.
for that one, Tatum went off for 40 in that game. He had 40 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, and Peyton Pritchard was his little Robin of that game with 25, 4, and 4.
BP.
Yeah, he crazy out there. And then another note to mention for the Celtics, they had 6 guys with at least double digits on that team in that game as well. Just a full round team effort besides the amazing performances from the 2 guys. So it's looking like they're just as unstoppable as they were last year in this game. And then on the other side, yeah. And then on the other side,
dogs over there.
Oh yeah. And then on the other side, we got Jalen Brunson with 36 points, 5 assists. That was really good out of him, and not really much else. I mean, it was really just
I thought he was really the one fighting for.
Cat only had 9 points that game.
Yeah, Cat.
Cat
That was
had
a
9,
stinker from Cat.
9 and 9.
That was a bummer for sure. I felt like Josh Hart was kind of doing decent, especially on defense.
He does
But it
normal
was
Josh Hart
still
stuff all the time.
right. But
Literally.
it's just like a lot of the Knicks didn't really seem like they were in sync. But I felt like Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart were doing their best to compete. But obviously, what are you going to do against a 40-piece from Jason Tatum and the Celtics right now? You know. But
Question I have to pose to you guys on this game, especially with this big stinker from Cat. We've been seeing a lot of push of Cat, like kind of being in that like top 5 at least MVP conversation throughout the year. Do you think a stinker like this with 9 points just completely takes him out? Because for me, honestly, at this point, I don't think he is really considered anymore. I think he's kind of fizzled out on his like super hot streak, and I think we can all agree that it was just like the start of the season, no hate, but it was just a great streak, and now he's kind of fizzled back into normal
yeah, he's
Cat.
definitely cooled off a little bit, and I think that is something you notice. And you kind of wonder what the rest of the season is going to be like, what the playoffs are going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, yeah, he's for sure moved out of that
Yeah.
top conversation. He might still be in my top 10,
Okay.
but he'd be down at the bottom, or he'd at least be like 11 to 15.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But still, like there was a time when we were talking, when we brought up the MVP conversation, like you said, we'd mentioned Cat.
I think he was like 4 for us.
Yeah,
maybe
like
even
we definitely
3,
put him in our
like,
top 5.
Yeah. Because he was just going
when he was,
crazy
like-
at the start of the year. It was like
Yeah,
40
when there
and
was like
15
that
every
clip
night.
of him like getting pushed, and then he like does the turnaround fade.
Oh
away,
my
and
gosh,
he's
that
just,
shit was
like,
crazy.
Just the look on, yeah, that's when we were
That shit
obsessed with
was
him.
crazy.
We were like, bro's going nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has cooled off a little bit.
But yeah, I
it
was
does
just looking at
translate
that
to
and yeah, his
losing
recent
games.
stat lines, and I was kind of wondering if you guys had kind of fizzled him out of those conversations just because it doesn't really feel like it's MVP Cat season anymore.
Nah, I
Right.
wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's. If I'm being honest, he never was not really in my top 5 for MVP. He was playing good. He was playing good basketball, but I didn't see him as like most valuable player in terms of the criteria that we've been holding other superstars for. I just didn't think it just didn't move me in the heavy MVP category.
So the reason that
It's
it
like-
kind of pushed me was just because of how slow Jalen Brunson the start of the season was. So he was
Jalen
really
did start.
and he
Yeah,
was
it
kind of
was
carrying
carried.
that team to like the number 2, 3 seed throughout the start of the season. So it just felt like if
And there
Jalen
was a
doesn't
point.
start taking off, then it's just going to be Cat's team. But now now it's kind of swapped. Jalen's having the big performances and Cat's kind of dipping down. So that's why I was like,
Yeah, and there was a point when it was like we were pretty sure that the Cavs were going to be the number 1 seed, and after that, we weren't really sure. Like Celtics and Knicks were kind of like toss up in the conversation,
especially at the start of the year. Oh my gosh, the Knicks were just
Right.
on such a blaze that it was like they could be the
Yeah.
1 seed by the end of the year. But the
And
Cavs
no
had
one
just
was putting them
held.
at 4. You know, it was 3
Yeah.
at the latest in the East, and now it's not really that way anymore. I think everyone after the Celtics is kind of shaky in the East. You don't know where they're going to end up and who's really going to be the number 3 seed. Could be the Pacers for all we know. They've been hot lately.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's hard to say.
Moving on.
But
Do you want to hit the Kuzma debut? Not anything too big, but just something we can quick touch on real quick.
no, yeah, we can touch on that. I was going to say I'm ready to talk about the Bucks, bro. It's been a fun week of basketball as a Bucks fan.
Yeah, for sure. So
Obviously, there's the whole Chris Middleton trade, so that was a tough day. That was a pretty tough one, but overall, like I said, happy that we did something.
yeah, for real.
And it's been cool to watch Kuzma play, especially since there hasn't been a Giannis. So Kuzma's been kind of being able to show who he is a little bit more, and fans seem to like what he does. Even like the people that initially like were on Twitter, like Bucks accounts that were kind of hating on it or whatever, have kind of turned around. I remember who hated on Kuzma though. You know,
Yeah, you
But
got to
Kuzma-
keep them receipts, bro, because if they
when
win the
Kuzma
chip this year,
drops like 20, 30 points in an important game in the playoffs, I'm gonna be there remembering
for real.
who was hating Kuzma. But anyways, yeah, so that's been fun.
Yeah,
We ended up
Kuzma's
getting beat, bro. We went on a crazy like 30-6 run or something like that against the Hawks. It was right when I turned it on too. I like turned on the game and we were losing, and then we just went on this huge run, and like I stopped paying attention because I was like, dang, game's over. I gotta stop doing that, bro. Because of course, then the Hawks are gonna win. Especially, you know how many times this season that happened to the Bucks? They're like go on a super dope run, take a good lead, and then they lose the game. So that was a disappointment. I think Dame has the lowest field goal percentage in the clutch this season. So
But they also give him the ball every single time.
yeah, I guess.
Like he takes every shot in the clutch.
That's a really good point.
Like every shot. But in that debut for Kuzma, he had 12 points, 1 assist, and 7 boards. So nothing major, but definitely like.
I think
not like
he was perfect from 3 too.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong, but he was at some point in the game.
Right, he didn't have like a stinker or nothing like that. Being able to like facilitate yourself into that completely new offense and do something of worth in that game definitely helps out.
Yeah, he took smart shots, and ultimately like bettered the team. So that was cool.
Right, yeah, and it's notable to mention too that they didn't have Giannis in this game, so that's a big reason that they lost that game. So
right, they haven't played.
If they
together.
had Giannis, they played really well, but if they had Giannis, the Bucks would have smoked those boys.
Oh yeah, because they only lost by like 10
this games this week. It's because we don't have Giannis, but we're still going.
And they ran
a
score up at the end too.
Yeah, so it really came down to like the last minute. It just happened to. I think it was like 15 to 110 because Trae Young took some free throws at the end, but it was like one thing went the other way, and we would have won.
So but yeah, some good performances throughout there with Dame with almost a triple-double, 23 points, 10 assists, 9 boards. Bobby Portis doing just Bobby Portis things that he does in Milwaukee every time that Giannis is out. 26 points, 6 assists, and 15 boards. Like, who is this guy when Giannis is out? Like, this dude's an MVP kid. This dude's an MVP player. Yeah.
That's his favorite time of the year is when Giannis is out. Like last season when they was in the playoffs, and I forgot which game it was, but it was a game where I think I was talking to you about this, Michael, or you too, Cole, because like this time we was all like in the parties on the game, and I just remember being like, bro, Bobby is hot right now, and they wasn't feeding him. They was
I do remember that. You were like,
they was forcing through games.
Yeah.
It was like every time I remember like this that is single-handedly probably the second or the first or the second game that I've like fully been like I see the problem here, and I was like
that was the moment that I was like, dang, Antoine would actually be an amazing NBA coach,
bro.
Because you made that call, and ultimately we lost the game because of it.
Every shot Bobby had, the man was making. I was like, that's it. He hitting. I'm like, bro, feed the hot hand. Like, this is the playoffs. Like, you have to feed the hot hand so that they develop to Bobby and be like, oh, we have to start game planning around Bobby right now. Then Dame can come get his game. But don't just take the points that Bobby get and be like, okay, thank you, Bobby. Here, come on, Dame. Let's get you going. It's like, no, like, feed the hot hand, make them focus on Bobby, then you bring the game plan in with Dame, is what I felt. So it's like Bobby's a hooper, bro. Like, they need to put some more respect on Bobby's name, I feel like. Only thing is Bobby is like sometimes he takes threes when it's like you can make that extra pass sometimes. And that's like the only thing I see sometimes with Bobby. I'm like, I see why they don't give him the ball more. But when bro's on, he's electrifying. The fans love him.
I think the
fans love him. I was going to say the fans put respect on Bobby's name. You go on the Milwaukee Bucks pro shop, you're going to see more custom Bobby Portis t-shirts of his head or his face or his goggle.
I was about to say, you remember the goggle look going crazy?
You're going to see more than Giannis, and I'm not even kidding. Like fans love Bobby Portis.
Yeah, I think BP definitely is like the second most loved on the team right now. Like in terms of fan love,
we do love Giannis more, but we love to celebrate Bobby more.
You gotta love Giannis. Like Giannis is just the lovable teddy bear. That's the guy. But BP is just like he feels humanized. And given that Milwaukee has a more black demographic, I feel like that plays a role. That Bobby just feels more like us too sometimes. Because like Giannis from overseas, so he don't have like the same struggles. But BP kind of give that, man. He's one of us, man. He's out here hooping, you know. Yeah. So it's like it's a great situation, which I enjoy to watch over there. In Milwaukee.
And he consistently shows up when he needs to, and he knows how to get the crowd hype. You know, he has an
oh my gosh, that game that we were at last year, bro, when he was going off and he hit like 4 shots in a row from that left corner that he loves so much. And then, bro,
Yeah.
he ran over to the side of the crowd that we were on. He was getting everybody hyped up, and then the whole entire crowd, everyone in the Pfizer, Bobby, Bobby, Bobby.
Bro,
I'm
he
like,
brought
bro,
more energy
what?
than when in 2021 when we saw him play the Nets with KD and Kyrie. There was more energy when Bobby Portis went
Went
on a
off,
run
yeah,
and hit a few threes against
He's
a
that
struggling Suns
energy
team.
guy for sure.
for real. And then on the
He's the
other side
energy
on
guy.
that game, Trey had 24 points, 7 assists, 3 boards, and then they had 7 players in double digits. So it was definitely a well team rounded effort over there, per usual with the Hawks. I mean, that's their basketball right now, just team oriented basketball. They push the rock around and let it be anybody's night. I mean, this is kind of a normal Trey stat line at this point, like mid 20s. He's not really going for as many of the shots it seems like he used to be, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, then moving forward, Dame smacked 40 on 8 threes. Um yeah, I don't know. The Bucks are looking pretty good right now, not gonna lie.
Bucks against
We
the Sixers.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I
43,
guess that
7, 8, and
Philadelphia went
2.
nuts last night. They were like all up in the streets or something. They were like really affected by that Bucks game.
Shut up.
But yeah, I don't know. That was cool.
Maxi came through with 39,
Yeah, I was gonna
which is
say Dame
solid.
with 43, 8 and 7 with, like you said, 8 threes. Gary Trent with a good game as well,
Yeah,
23,
yeah.
3 assists, 6 boards. Bobby doing
PC.
Bobby stuff again. Yep, 18, 5 and 13, just crazy. And then Embiid out there actually doing some good stuff now that
Yeah,
he's
I did.
back out there. That was nice.
I was like,
27, 6 and 12. Like,
I
That's
remember
that's to
feeling like
expect
it
from
is
your
kind of
duo.
like weird watching Embiid just play basketball.
it
Like
kind
it's
of
like
is because he's
weird,
been like so out so
right?
often. It's almost
Like
like
it
when you see
feels
Kawhi
crazy.
out there and you're like,
Yeah,
oh
Yeah.
yeah, this dude actually is super good when he plays. He just rarely plays.
I
yeah,
forgot he plays his own game. It's like they play their own brand of basketball. So
Yeah.
when you see it, it's like, whoa, I haven't seen basketball be played this way in a minute, you know? Because I feel
yeah.
like Embiid takes it very slow when he hoops. It's like he's like very intentional with what he's doing sometimes. PG with a stinker. Not really. 12, 5, and 6, 3 steals. So you can't be mad at that.
I mean, you can if you paid that amount of money for him.
Yeah, I know that's why I made the look. I was like, can't be mad at that. Well, I got some people would be happy with the 5 rebounds and 6 assists and 3 steals. Like, oh, he's passing the ball.
It's definitely not a bad stat line, but it is like you are expected to be
You're Paul
like,
George.
yeah,
You're Paul George.
like you're
Like
supposed
you're
to be the
not
dude, you know?
Yeah.
like this would be a great stat line for Kelly Oubre. And that's no disrespect to him. But like 12, 5, and 6 and 3 steals, that's great for Kelly Oubre. But you're Paul George, my boy. We need at least 22 out of you.
Would
At
you
least
consider
22.
Paul George one of the scenarios you were talking about of, I know that he's older, so it's not exactly what you're talking about, but of players getting paid without just earning it? Do you think that Paul
Um,
George is getting paid more than he's earned in his career?
No, I don't think he
No,
had any crazy blockbuster. I think
I
he
think he
has.
earned it
He
though.
yeah he's shown it like he shown it from when he was on the Thunder. He
Right.
Dude, from
kinda
when he
it was
was on the Pacers and he was keeping up with LeBron on
yeah
the
Yeah, that's
Heat,
what I really think
like
about him. It's
OG
like,
days, he was proving it. So yeah, and then like you said with the Thunder, he was top 5 in MVP
yeah. So
conversations
like
one
he
year.
showed that
So
like I'm like that, you know. Whereas some like he put in his time to get that money also. Whereas like he stayed on a consistent like upbringing. My thing was more so the younger guys getting the check after their rookie scale contract. It's like we've only seen them on a rookie scale. We need to see them when on a consistent basis. We've been watching Paul George since 2012, 2010. Like we've been watching him 10 plus years
for
before he
years
started
now,
getting
yeah.
crazy money. You know, it was like, you know, like all these guys really put in work to get those kind of checked. And I feel like the younger guys just kind of getting it handed down because the older guys had to walk. And it's like I feel like we saw the older guys' careers pan out, so they felt like, well, maybe if we pay them early, we'll get the same result. But no, that's just going to make them lackadaisical. You know, they're going to be like, oh, like I get $260 million. What do I have to prove anymore? Like that's just true. That's the truth of the matter. Like that's when you get that money, you feel like you're untouchable now. Like they've already paid me the big bucks that they would pay me if I was averaging 40 or 50.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like so. It's like the younger guys. Well, I think Paul George kind of earned that money. He probably. I'm not fully sure his contract, but I don't think he's playing to the level of his contract right now. But I feel like guys like Paul George, Steph Curry, they're kind of going to get contracts based off who they used to be for the rest of their career, pretty much. Like, unless the media kind of brings down their value, and I feel like that plays a huge role in things. I feel like Russ would be getting more money had the media not scrutinized and criticized him as much as they did. Russ would be
100%.
getting money based off what he used to do, but I feel like the media drug his name through the dirt so much that it brought his value down. And it's like I feel like the media ruins the game also because it puts a negative like image on people. So it's like a guy could like say Russ want to come and say I want $20 million a year. They're going to bring up articles about what the media says. Well, you stuck
Media
up
9
this
times
year.
out of 10 is not doing anything good for a player. Like you
Yeah,
get
so
once
yeah,
in a
for
blue
sure.
moon that the media is actually like riding behind a player and actually doing
exactly.
good things for, like Tyrese. Tyrese Haliburton is a perfect mention of the opposite end, where the media loved him and took a hold of him, and he got that big contract super early that we might have talked about like this exact conversation earlier, and said like, maybe he doesn't exactly deserve it. Maybe it was more of a media push and this, that, and the other. Whereas like Russ, somebody who has done amazing things, averaged a triple double for like most of his fucking career, damn near at this point, and
Yeah.
is just like you said, getting dragged through the mud and not really getting that respect and that money that he might deserve from just playing amazingly throughout most of his career, especially like throughout all of that year with the Wizards when he drugged them to the playoffs when they shouldn't have made it. Now playing with
Without
the
Bill barely. With
right
Bill barely like being there because he was injured.
now with the Nuggets playing amazingly, it's like, yeah, it kind of is like a little bit of a why wasn't Russ ever getting that respect this whole time? Was it really all the systems that he was in and whatnot? And it seems
Yeah,
like it's
I
more
think
that
it
side.
definitely has to do with the system. Because like we know Russ, when Russ became MVP caliber, he got to do whatever he wants. Like the man shot every shot he thought was good.
Every shot.
So it's like, what do you expect from somebody who had the green light for like 3-4 years to go into a system and have to play behind somebody? And I think ego and pride plays a huge role into that. Because like, how do you expect somebody who won MVP, who like has the most triple doubles all the time, like how do you expect him to chill his ego down for this somebody who did nothing?
Right.
Speaking like Bradley Beal, like realistically, Bradley has done nothing. And it's like, how would you expect him to kind of put his ego aside to like keep Bradley's egos going, and then like going to the Lakers, and now he has to put his ego behind LeBron and AD, and I feel like you would see him take crazy shots in those games, and I feel like he really wanted to make those shots, he just didn't have the back end to like do it, and I felt like he was trying to hit those shots to prove a point, and they just wouldn't come in and hitting for him. So I feel like ultimately it kind of killed him in the long run. But I don't feel like Russ is like washed. I feel like he's not as probably going to be efficient as he used to be. But what he's doing with the Nuggets is what I felt like he still had, and now everybody's like, oh, Russ is still good. It's like, yeah, we all are humans. We all like creatures of like environment.
Of our environment, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depending on where, like some environments you can thrive in, some environments you can't. So it's like, I just kind of keep that mindset when I think about Russ.
Yeah, 100%. So, moving on from that, we can slide into Jimmy Butler's debut. That was definitely an interesting one. The final score ended up being 132 to 111, the Warriors winning.
Bro, the 73-28 run is immaculate.
I was
I
going to
felt like
say,
that was a
they went in
crazy
a
run to go on.
33 to 10 run in just the third quarter alone.
Yeah, I was like that.
Steph,
That looks bad on the Bulls for sure.
yeah, for real. Stat line's looking like Steph with 34, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Jimmy out there doing normal Jimmy stuff, back to actually performing well.
That's
25
what I told them, boys.
Yeah, 25 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. And then on the other side, Kobe White with a good performance, 27, 4 and 4. Gotta mention that as a Bulls fan. I love to see my boy Kobe White going off. And
Yeah.
just a quick little note that I also wrote down that Patrick Williams, he's either going to be like really great one day for another team like Lauri Markkanen, or he's just going to be completely forgotten about in like 3-4 years, like by most of the league. That's honestly my general consensus of watching Patrick Williams. It's like one day
I'm not so
one day he looks like he could be actually something, and I'm like, yeah, but not for us though. And then the next day he looks like a bottom 5 player in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on him, but I feel like I'm not sold just because given the players that was in that draft that we passed on who end up blossoming into superstars, it's just like, and we still waiting on this guy to come into his own. I just can't do that, bro. It's like it's given like the rate that the league moves, like most guys in his position would have been shipped already.
Oh yeah.
Like they would have already, got rid of him. I don't want his career to come to an end of
It's
that nature,
honestly
but
a
it's
good
like
way to compare it is like Cam Reddish, like the Cam Reddish conversation we were having earlier. If this was Cam Reddish, if he came in with the expectations of Cam Reddish, he would have been gone already. But because he came to the
literally.
Bulls and because he was kind of an unknown, he didn't really have that worry. He was the youngest player out of the draft, and we were trying to take a project on that could potentially turn into Kawhi Leonard, and nicknamed him the Paw and everything.
I feel like striving to get a baby Kawhi Leonard is not a good thing in my opinion.
No,
I feel
because
like Kawhi
Kawhi
is
didn't
good in his
have
own.
offense at first. So you got to realize
Yeah,
that Kawhi wasn't Kawhi now at the start of his career. He was just a defensive lockdown for the first
he
couple
was kind of
years.
forced into that. But like thinking you're gonna get a young kid to come into the league and think he's gonna be anything of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is a freak of nature, and that doesn't mean he's better than the rest of the guys in the NBA. That just goes to show like you can't recreate what he has going
Mm-mm.
on. Like you can't recreate that. You can recreate a lot of dudes in the NBA and a lot of similar styles, but I don't feel like Kawhi Leonard is one of those styles that you even want to mimic. Like you don't want to be drafting players to be like Kawhi Leonard realistically. Like you want players that's like have shades of like other players. You want Stephen Curry shade. You want some Allen Iverson shade. Like you want shades of those type of players. And that doesn't take anything from Kawhi. It's saying like anything bad. But
Kawhi's
it's just
just
like
like too complete of a player where it's like if you're
yeah,
expecting that out of people, like you're gonna be
they'll never
putting
live
way
up to
too much
that.
on their shoulders. Yeah, because
Like
Kawhi
we
in his
talk about the
prime,
depoy.
yeah, Kawhi in his prime, people were talking about like Jordan, like the best people of all time. They were saying this man was playing on that level. Like that Raptors run was arguably the best run we've ever seen. The only Game 7 game winner at the buzzer that we've ever seen so far in the playoffs. Like that man,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
like
That's like and it's like
and the
you,
shot that he
you
hit
can't
it with,
recreate
like
that.
come on now, yeah, like this shit
The
was
Bro,
dumb.
I'll
personality
forever
with it.
remember that. I remember exactly the angle because you were there. We were at my parents' house.
Yup.
I will always remember the exact angle that I was sitting on the floor looking at the TV. I remember where you were sitting. I remember where the other people that were there were sitting. Someone else was sitting across the room. Someone else was standing on the other side of the room. I
Yup.
remember it like it was this morning, bro. I remember everything, every piece of my parents' furniture in the house, and my parents switched the furniture like yearly.
Like so
But I
much,
remember
yeah.
where it was on the day that Kawhi hit that shot.
Yeah, bro. That day was so memorable. Especially
That
seeing
broke the
that
net.
live was beautiful. For real.
I did not see it live, unfortunately. I think
Oh,
I exited out the game early.
Bro, I wouldn't have if I wasn't hanging out with Cole that day, honestly, because I was just, like, I was really only focused on the Bucks at that time period. So like I really didn't care about anything else going on. And I really didn't want to hear about this man coming up in the East, like he's gonna come take the crown. Especially because you know who they played after the 76ers?
the
The
Bucks.
Bucks. So when I saw that shot, I was filled with fear. I was
I
like,
remember that right after that shot,
I
Michael
was
was like,
like,
"Oh
dude,
no,
I
oh
was like, we're
no."
not going to the finals this year. Like, we're not. Kawhi Leonard's going to the finals this year. And he did. And he won.
Because
So,
Kawhi was the Giannis stopper that year for real.
bro, he was the Giannis stopper.
So it
He's
was
the best Giannis stopper I've ever seen. And
So I
Giannis
want to
is
hear
good.
both of y'all's like floor and ceiling with this new look Warriors now that we've talked about the game. And the debut. Michael, now that you're back, is there anything that you wanted to touch on with that debut from Jimmy Buckets?
Um, Before I do that, can you see my video? Because I low key been
No.
here, but I'm noticing that I can't see my video.
No, we cannot.
no, it went out.
That's interesting. Well, anyways, yeah. So here's my take on Jimmy Butler. I think the floor for Jimmy Butler and the Warriors is right where the Warriors are right now. I don't think they can get any worse with Jimmy Butler on their team. And if they do, they're going to be able, like they always have, to stay at around 500. I think the ceiling is the championship. No joke.
Really? This year?
And I don't want to say anything crazy, but
That's why I'm asking. Hot take central.
But yeah, I'll say their absolute ceiling, the best they could do is they could win a championship this year. And I'm going to try and support that the best I can.
Wow.
So I got to say this take first before I get into this. The Warriors are not my pick to win the finals this year. I don't even think they're going to make it to the finals if I was like really saying my take, but I'm going to argue for the Warriors winning the finals this year because I think they have a valid chance. And the first arguing point is the obvious arguing point, Steph Curry. This is an NBA champion. We know this. I don't even have to argue this to you guys. Everybody knows Steph Curry is like the most winningest person in the game besides maybe LeBron, depending on your position on that argument.
Yeah.
But Steph Curry is a champion. He can do it. He has a bunch of experience. And Jimmy Butler, like we've been saying, there was a time when we considered him the hardest working man on the planet to bring his team. And now he has an opportunity to do that again with Steph Curry. Another arguing point is Draymond Green is a winner. Draymond Green in the same way. You get those three guys. Those three guys have such high IQ. And yes, they're aging. They're aging out too. They're at the last parts of their career, you know? So if they do go out and win that, that's going to be their last ride. But that IQ is such a great combination of IQ. And I wanted to touch on the Warriors Bulls game specifically. I think people really have an expectation for the Warriors that they don't have for other teams because the Warriors and the Bulls, in my eyes, are about the same. They've performed about the same this season. They've looked good at times, but they've ultimately lost games. Obviously, they're in two different points in their building. And I don't really like the Bulls as much as I like the Warriors. But now that they're adding Jimmy Butler to this team, they're obviously going to go up. And so the whole aura of that game, and this is considering this is the first time this team has ever played together. And they went out there and played like a championship team.
Came back from down big for real and made a crazy run, and it was beautiful.
So we've seen Steph Curry, we've seen Jimmy Butler. If they both drive to win a championship as hard as they can, I have no doubt that they could do it. And again, like I originally said, that might not be as realistic as I'm trying to argue for, but absolute ceiling, they could win the championship this year.
Love that.
For me, I'm gonna say floor, and I'm talking about next season, and I don't know how far they're down this season, but I'm gonna just say over the next year or so, I think floor top 8 in the West. I think that I do. You know, I have a lot. I don't know. I'm not even like the biggest Jimmy Butler fan, nor am I like the biggest Stephen Curry fan. But something in my heart just kind of makes me get on the train of like those guys could really do something special, and
no
that's
doubt.
just because I know the talent that them boys have.
And there's still plenty of basketball to be played this regular season. So
yeah, so I think the floor is a top 8 seed in the West, and then ceiling championship for sure. Whether that's this season or next season, I think they legit. I think next season, if they have to wait till next season and have an all season together, I feel like that is like all the more like reason that they have the opportunity to win a championship because they'll have time to work and figure each other's strong suits and weaknesses out, and then they'll be able to like play off that really well. Like given Draymond's IQ and his facilitation and Jimmy's willingness to play off ball and kind of work down low to get his points, and then Steph Curry being the main guy, I just feel like that's just like a great recipe for just like greatness. So I feel like the ceiling definitely is a championship could come from their kind of team up, and I would love to see that. I feel like that'd be exciting to see because I just feel like I love to see the hard work that like players put in, and I feel like Jimmy just definitely showcases what it looks like to like work hard.
For sure.
It's like you can have all the talent in the world, but talent can't beat hard work. if you don't work on your talent and work hard at it, you're never going to flourish in that. So I just feel like that just looks beautiful together, and we all know how Stephen Curry and Draymond works are too. I just feel like they didn't have the pieces that kind of supported them well enough. I feel like players like Andrew Wiggins kind of didn't perform to what they needed. He performed well, but I don't think he performed to what they needed. And given what we've seen from Jimmy Butler in his finals, is he has what the Warriors need, which is hard work and like working hard and down low and like doing the dirty things. Like we expected Andrew Wiggins to be the 3-and-D, but that's more of Jimmy Butler's thing. He's not the best shooter, but he can be a 3-and-D wing that can come down and work hard down low. He can guard positions 1 through 5 and thrive in that, and like don't get tired. Nance can play a whole 6-game, 7-game series, 48 minutes straight, and not bat an eye at it.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's huge for the Warriors to have at their disposal.
Yeah, and I honestly definitely agree with those takes, especially honestly, I think even if they end up at the floor on the 8th seed, I think they could still make a Cinderella run, because we got to remember who their number 2 star is behind Steph Curry now. The exact guy who just was the first ever player to lead a team from the play-in all the way to the finals. And you got Steph Curry on that team with them? Oh, man. Like, you don't want to see them as an 8th seed. If I'm the Thunder, that's the last team I want to play first round, bro.
Sure.
You got Steph Curry trying to blaze you up, and you know Steph Curry loved to blaze up OKC because just them old days, he still loves to go off against OKC. And then you got Jimmy out there playing like damn near 48 minutes every game, and then you got Draymond kicking you in the shit. Come on now.
Yeah, bro. And when you think about like the best teams in basketball right now, you think about, so I'm just going to presume the Thunder and the Celtics are the best teams. Would you guys agree, just for my point?
No.
All right.
The Cavs.
The Cavs can be in there. The Cavs can be in there, but the Cavs kind of ruined my point. So I'll say the Cavs third, and I'll do them separate.
Okay, yeah. For your point, you can go. I don't have to agree for your point.
Yeah.
Your opinion.
Well, I would say, okay, so the Thunder, I would consider the Thunder the team to beat in the West. And I think we've seen the Warriors do that. So the Warriors can do that. So I'm not scared of a Thunder Warriors series if I'm a Warriors fan. I'm also not scared as a Thunder fan, though. You know, the Thunder have playoff experience now.
Oh, I'd be scared as a Thunder fan.
Yeah, as a Thunder fan, I would be scared just because their guys are young as shit. And
the experience on the other side, yeah.
That's the
Jimmy literally took
make. And when you talk experience and you kind of put onto the Celtics, bro, you tell Jason Tatum he's going up in a series against Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, he's gonna go far.
For real. Those are two guys who have been
They know him. They know the Celtics.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, we didn't have the exact facts on it, but they're either number 1 or number 2 as the duo with the most finals experience. Like, it's no question they are like the most, if not second most experienced duo in playoffs, finals, all of it when it comes to that. So, and then when you add Draymond's experience too, oh, it's over. They're the most experienced team.
Plus,
I intentionally left the Cavs out of the list because I don't have an argument for the Cavs. I think the Cavs are a pretty scary matchup for the Warriors, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think the Cavs are and as weird as it is, they're still the number 1 seed, but I still see them as a dark horse because it doesn't seem like anybody takes them seriously. But I mean, I think they could go out and really make a run this year.
Yeah, they definitely could, and nobody's prepared for that.
I'm kind of on the train of like I think they're fakers.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And that's not to the talent of nobody on the team.
No, yeah.
That's just like I don't know. I just feel like it came so out of nowhere that it's like not going to last. Like when you see teams like 73 and that Warriors, you saw that coming. Like you knew the Warriors were coming to play that next season after winning the chip. But when you think about teams,
I saw this coming. Not gonna lie, but keep going.
Whoa, okay, LeBron.
I
He said, "Nah, I knew about Donovan Mitchell."
Yeah.
But I just feel like it came out of nowhere, and I just feel like it just won't sustain once it gets to that nitty gritty playoff ball, which is like,
See, and that's what I think
that's when you see when people are made, in my opinion.
See, and that's honestly where I think their game's gonna strive, bro. They have like everything at every level, like especially picking up DeAndre Hunter now. Like they have a guy that can do well for them at every position, 1 through 5.
Like somebody's not gonna come through. And I think
Which is
D
okay
Mitch is
because
gonna
they
come.
got 4
I
other
feel like
guys that can come through that night.
I hope, but
You
I feel
got
like I don't
DG,
know.
Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen.
I just feel like
That's
somebody's
a
not gonna come
5,
through.
bro. That's a
Yeah,
5.
that's a crazy 5 for sure. I'm not down. I'm not down that they like all that. That's a skilled team, and I think they're all skilled. But I just don't think it's going to sustain when it comes down to that nitty gritty. I feel like they are inexperienced too. So when they go against the Celtics have been back against the wall. So they know what that felt. They've been to the finals twice and they won one. So I feel like when you match those two teams up, I'm taking Celtics all day. Like and that just comes with the experience of like what's going on, and that's why I say I feel like somebody's not going to come through because the pressure is going to get real, and I feel like somebody on that I just feel like somebody's going to crumble on that team, which is going to ultimately just lead them to like not prevail. And like I don't wish that, but that's just what I feel. Like that's just
Honestly,
like
what
when I
I
think about the
see,
Cavs, that's what come to mind.
I hear you. But what I see, like on that opposite end, just because like I am such a believer in this Cavs team, and I really do think that they're gonna make an amazing run and somehow surprise everybody as the 1 seed and make it to the finals. I don't know how it'd be a surprise, but I mean, you and so many other people just don't really believe in it, which is understandable. But I honestly think Donovan Mitchell is really gonna show that his young experience in the playoffs so much with the Jazz, because we got to remember Donovan Mitchell came into the. There he is. Let's go.
Nice, bro.
Donovan Mitchell, with all of his early playoff experience that he had with the Jazz when him and Gobert were the duo and they had Gordon Hayward and whatnot, even though they had so many players, we got to remember Donovan Mitchell was the leader of that playoff team as a rookie, second year guy, third year guy, and he was taking them to the playoffs and not just the first round, making it to the second round. Of course, no like Western Conference appearances, but I mean, he was young, and let's be honest, that team really didn't have the ceiling of that necessarily, but him with all of that very young experience in the playoffs, I think can help him in this situation where it's a very, like you've mentioned, kind of inexperienced team around him, but he can take leadership in those moments and help them get that experience because I feel like when it comes down to it, playoff clutch time, they're going to give it to Dono. And he
Yeah,
knows how to do it.
I think Donovan is going to be the one that doesn't crumble. Like that's my for sure
Okay,
not
okay. I'm
crumbler.
glad you can
Like
agree on that. Yeah.
yeah. I for sure think Spider's going to come through. I feel like somebody's going to be that like.
Spider going to be
Oh,
dropping like 40 a night. I'm calling it right
didn't he
now.
drop like 59 or something
I'm
like
saying,
that in the
dude, like
playoffs?
he is one of the best
As a
playoff
shorty?
performers. Yes, bro. As a
As a
youngin.
shorty?
Yes, bro.
Like man's not 59. That's
he
like
just had
real.
like a bit of his career that he hasn't been in the playoffs because the Cavs haven't been so great. But bro, get him back in the playoffs, especially as the 1 seed. I see him coming out and taking it all. Like that's honestly how I see it going for at least out east.
I wouldn't hate that though. I wouldn't be like, ah, those guys suck. They
Oh
didn't earn
yeah,
it.
for
I
sure.
would
I hear
like
what you're saying.
I'd be like that's dope for them. Like congrats to them boys for like doing that.
Yeah, you're just
And
saying that you don't really see that happening
yeah, I just
compared
don't
to
see
like
like
a Celtics who are already proven.
if anybody's a faker, like that's who I'm gonna go. Like if somebody made me choose, like who do you think out of the top 8 teams or top 3 teams in each seat? I mean, standing. Those are just my fakers.
100%.
And that's just because their success is just so out of left field.
It
which
really
like
is.
which is like a huge
Let
thing
me
for
defend
them.
my
Like
point. Let me defend my point. So you don't have to, but and this is honestly going to discredit me a little bit, but straight up, in 2K24 I simulated a lot of seasons, and I noticed that the Cavs won the championship a lot, which I thought was super curious because the Cavs weren't that good. So what that meant to me was because I turn off morale and chemistry, because it gets in my way. What that meant to me was there is personnel in Cleveland that is causing them to be worse than they should be. And I actually brought this up at work and they were like super discredited me. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, like I low-key think the Cavs could be the best team in the East. There's just something that needs to change. Guess what happened, bro? They got a new coach.
who they got now? Is that they got JB or did they get rid of JB? I think they got rid of JB Bickerstaff. They might have like a
They
legendary
got
coach
Kenny.
now.
They got Kenny Atkinson, bro.
I
and
knew
he's
it.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know they got like some type of legendary.
He's the man that made D'Lo so good. Let's
Bro,
be honest.
I love that Kenny Atkinson and Quinn Snyder got back in their head coaching roles.
Because they really were doing so good, and then
2015, 2016, those are like the best coaches in the league. And then they had some slumps 2017, 2018 when the Warriors was reigning and they lost their jobs. I remember those guys. Like those two of the names that stuck with me as a kid. Kenny Atkinson.
Let's be honest, that's
Snyder.
another thing I just want to bring up real quick that honestly pisses me off. I'm going to be completely honest. It's a little dead talk here. Why the fuck are we being so quick with head coaches in the NBA this year? This shit, or not this year specifically, but just this era. Yes, this era. Yo, I know you feel this right now, Michael, because as a Bucks fan, y'all were number 1 in the East last year, having the best start to the season that anybody was having, and then y'all were like, but like we could change it up, just switch our whole entire system and add in a whole entire
haven't been
different
the number 1 team in the East since.
Right. And like it's like, well, what are we doing? Like, I mean, if they win a chip this year, you know, maybe it all works out and we all forget about it and whatnot. But it's just so confusing to me, especially with, like you were saying, Kenny Atkinson was having a great couple years as a head coach, developing guys, like known as a very good developing guy to help young players become better and just good at the X's and O's in general. And then kind of ended up having to be, I think, like in a head coaching staff somewhere else. I can't remember. Maybe he was with the Warriors, I want to say. He was like an assistant head coach. He
bounced around for sure.
Yeah, but he was like an assistant head coach at other spots for a little bit just because of a couple down years. And it's like, I don't know if we can put that on the head coach every time. We got to put more credit on these players. Playing. Yeah, we got to put more responsibility
on these players. On the players.
Like everybody wants to find a scapegoat, but at the end of the day, the truth is there's only one championship every year, which means there's going to be 29 losers, and you can't always be that upset about it. Like you can't always be that disappointed that you didn't make it that far, because a lot of other teams didn't make it either. And you can't always be mad at your coaches or your players because they didn't do their best, because maybe they did. Maybe the other team was just better, you know?
I love you so much for that opinion, but that's such a Giannis take when he lost in the playoffs and they were like, do you consider this a failure as a season?
Bro, and that's
you damn near word for word hit that. I know you weren't like doing that, but that's all I could think the whole time.
But you know how like Giannis has been a big part of my whole basketball.
No, yeah, and plus I mean it's a good take.
In a way, because it's like it really is like, yeah, it's you can't win them all. You can't.
No, you literally cannot. It's proven you can't. Unless you're Jordan.
I feel like a coach.
I mean, then you still can't win them all. You can win most of them, but
yeah. All of them that you're
won 3 in a row, and then three in a row.
You didn't make it to the finals even a bunch of seasons.
A lot of seasons. His first year back, everybody doesn't want to talk about, but it's fine.
Talk about what?
Yeah, no one ever wants.
When he came back as 4-5, and Penny said, "Bye-bye, I'm the new face."
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I bet you don't.
You don't?
I don't know what you're
I
talking
bet you
about.
don't. I bet you don't.
But Giannis even brought that up.
That's fine. Being from Chicago, that would fade from your memory, huh?
I wasn't even born, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Bro, there wasn't even basketball those 2 years. There was only baseball in the city of Chicago.
Pretty much. It was just White Sox.
Yeah, exactly. The Bulls went on a hiatus.
Yeah. The United Center just wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a parking lot.
It was the Scotty show. What you mean?
Yeah, they were good. They were a good team.
Totally unrelated point. Did you see that guy who Scotty tried to take his girl? Scottie Pippen asked this random guy. He asked this guy's girl, like, "You want to be with this loser, or you want to come get with me?" Like, for real, like
Scotty on some crazy shit, bro. Chill, Scotty.
Scotty was he was very inebriated. He was like very intoxicated. Bro was like, you could see that, but it was just like he was like, "You coming with me, or you gonna stay with him?" And I was just like,
Scotty.
I would be mad. Scottie Pippen walk up on my girl like, "You want to be with this loser?"
I'd be so mad. Are you kidding me?
I was like, "Go get your girl back, bro."
Yeah, I would. I would have been beat up by
no disrespect, Scottie Pippen. I'm a huge fan.
No diss.
Beat me up by the end. But anyways, so couple final mentions. I don't think we have to spend a bunch of time on this, but SGA has been scoring 50 points every Wednesday. Like,
still got to touch on De'Aaron Fox's debut as well.
Oh yeah. And I was gonna say also Jokic gets a bunch of triple doubles. I don't think that those things aren't impressive, but I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on them because everybody knows SGA and Jokic. Whoever you think the MVP is, it's one of them.
Yeah, SGA has been scoring 50 every Wednesday, and Jokic has been getting a triple double every other night.
I've been on the SGA train. I think I got on about a week ago. I think SGA.
Bro,
Y'all know,
I'm on the
y'all know
SGA train
me.
since last year.
I've been on that SGA train for
Yeah, bro,
years now. I've been on that SGA train for years
Bro,
now.
it happened the same way as last year. It was like I was Jokic for the most half of the season, and then as soon as it got around this point, I was like, you know what? SGA is just winning more games, doing better
I feel
basketball.
like he
He's more
got
fun to
gypped
watch.
last season,
It's just
man.
so
I
fun
feel
to
like
watch too, man. Like
Yeah,
he's
so
so smooth, too smooth with it.
the
Like
game comes easy
I was
him.
about to say that. It looks too easy for him.
And why I said he was the MVP last season was like I forgot who said it. I was watching a podcast, and they was like, this man puts his confidence in the middle of the locker room and tells everybody to get a piece. And that is what makes him the MVP for me. Is like he's taking these little guys, like these are young guys without many real vets. Like they don't have many vets that have seen greatness over there.
Yeah.
So he's taking this team to consistently be the top in the West for 2 years now running. Like that is MVP stuff. Like
Yeah.
Jokic is doing great things, but now that's becoming the norm for Jokic. That's becoming the norm. It's like Jokic has no more he can go. Man's already damn near averaging triple double. He's already getting triple doubles like this, like this is nothing to him. So it's like, yes, he's doing great. Yes, that's MVP stuff. But the things that Shea is doing is just on another level to me of like also bringing your team in there because Jokic still loses games even when he's having great games, but Shea is having great games and bad games. His team is still doing well, and that's strictly because of what he brings to that locker room. I feel like without Shea in that situation, we see the Thunder being equivalent to the. I don't know. I don't want to underestimate those boys because they do have some talented guys over there that probably would have came into their own without Shea. But like he plays a huge role into that because of how much confidence he has. Everybody else can feed off that.
I definitely think that's a great point to be made. Yeah.
Like having somebody on your team that's very confident makes like I just like in pickup games. Like playing on a team with like Tawan is like I'm good. It's like I'm good, bro. Like, I know I'm set, and it's like the confidence that we just messing around. So the confidence that a person has definitely helps out the team. So that's why I feel like Shea is like MVP, and I feel like he should have got it last year also. But also, Jokic is not to be played with. That man does do caliber of things that is very valuable to a team. Any team would be flourishing with Jokic on that team too, because he's able to score and pass the ball and facilitate very well. Even when he's not getting every assist, he is still setting up that play for somebody else to get an assist, you know?
Bro, he also has got 24 triple doubles this season, so he's on track to get more than he's gotten before, which last year he got 25, and then it was somewhere in the 20s before that. It was more than 25, less than 30.
Dang. Yeah,
the year
and that's
but so he's on track to do more than that. And get this, 12 of those, literally half of them, if he would have went out at the third quarter, didn't play the fourth quarter or overtime, he'd still have a triple double. 12 times he did that in 3 seasons, and he's literally like, if he only had 12, he'd still be leading the league in triple doubles this season.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this might be new Mr. Triple Double.
I think it definitely is official.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody said it, but it's a thing. Yeah.
I guess I'm saying less of like they're both like how there's 2 Spider-Mans. I'm saying this might be for some point soon we might not even refer to Westbrook as Mr. Triple Double. That was just Jokic type. Like he's getting that.
I don't know if we can take it away from Westbrook ever. Him being the first ever to average it since Oscar. Yeah, I don't know if we can ever.
40 is crazy, man.
Yeah, like
it's like 42 or 44 or something.
Yeah, he was going
triple
nuts.
doubles in a season is crazy. So
right. But yeah, moving on to that Fox debut. It was a Spurs versus Hawks. They ended up winning by 1 point, 126 to 125. Fox looking amazing in his debut for them with 24 points, 13 assists, 3 rebounds. Looking real nice next to Wemby, also with 24 points, 2 assists, and 12 rebounds. And Devin Vassell out there getting 20 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. And they had 7 guys in double digits that game. Just a beautiful performance when you add a new big piece that's a playmaker, like the engine of your offense, and like almost changing your whole offensive scheme. Not completely, but shifting it a lot getting
Yeah,
a
it's
whole new
it's just the gears for
right.
sure.
And yeah, they looked really good. And then on the other side, you had Trey Young with 32 points, 12 assists, and 2 rebounds. And then Onyeka Okongwu with a really nice night with 30 points, 5 assists, and 12 rebounds himself. But yeah, it ended up being a close game, 1 point game. And Fox came through, and it seems like San Antonio loves him. It seems like he's happy to be there. I mean, in his post game interview, when they were asking him about how he felt about, you know what I mean, being in San Antonio after leaving Sacramento, a place that was loved loved him so much, you could tell that, you know, he still had a lot of love for Sacramento, and it definitely hit him, and just as much as it hit the city that he's not there anymore. But man, I'm so
I
hyped
knew
to see
that
the Spurs.
I knew that was dangerous immediately. I was just like, yo, that is that is huge. And the fact that he comes out with 24 and 13 is exactly what he's probably going to average as long as he is Spur. If they are able to figure a good system out with those two,
Yeah.
plus the pieces they have like Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell and Jeremy, I feel like they can do some very scary things, and we will probably see them be a perennial cornerstone for the West in the next 2 to 3 years, depending if they make one more move, like a BI or something like that. That could be huge for them. I truly feel like that. I truly feel like those guys are one piece away from becoming the perfect package,
You
and
think
that
so?
comes with and that comes with
I
the
think they're complete.
well, I was gonna say like they also need to continuous what's it called, the continuous evolution of Wemby too, because he's only second year. So like we've seen it with everybody. Like first 2 years you're good, but those back 3 4 years, once you hit like fifth, sixth year, that's when you really tap into who you are as a player.
But man,
So it's like
even with Devin
Wemby is still
Vassell
growing.
constantly growing and Jeremy Sohan
Yeah,
consistently growing his offensive game, like I think you let this
Yeah,
whole
they've had
entire team just build around De'Aaron. I think they're complete. Like I think this is the
yeah, they
team.
really have had a good half decade of drafting. That's been the
yeah.
biggest part of it, and now obviously to add De'Aaron Fox to a super well drafted team. Um,
Got to give credit to
that's the
Pop.
dream, man. That's the dream
This
right
is
there.
Pop. That's what Pop set up. I feel like because Pop is like I could have sworn he's the president of basketball
I'm
operations
pretty
and the
sure
coach.
he is
So
also the
he's
Oh
making
yeah,
pres.
the trades. So he's making the trades at the same time as he's coaching.
Yeah, that's
So
what
this
Doc
is
Rivers was doing over in LA when he was with the
yeah.
Clippers. I don't know if you know that, Michael.
bro should get coach of the year every single year. Not even gonna cap. I know
Who
that that's
Pop?
like
Uh,
not the thing.
Yeah, bro. Pop
We'll
is
just
like
give him
goaded.
coach of all time, and then coach of
Yeah,
the year can be less significant.
bro.
then
He's
then it'd just
art.
be an argument of old heads versus new heads of Phil Jackson versus Pop because nobody will ever say that Phil Jackson isn't the GOAT if you were during that time era. Like, you know what I mean?
Phil is
From
great,
Bulls to
but
Lakers, like that's just
Yeah,
such a
that's true.
goated transition.
That would
Despite
be
Pop
really
being like amazing throughout that whole
I
era
feel
as well.
I feel like Pop is on a different level than Phil because Phil was just a coach. Phil was a great coach. Pop is a great architect of a team. Like
and also
he's the way that he's been able to adapt to the time changes of going from triangle basketball to like 3 point basketball and continuously being in the playoffs all those years and having people come in and squeezing the most out of players. I feel like that's like some legendary coaching stuff and like architectural things of like creating a team that's like I don't think we'll probably ever see nobody come like that. I don't think a lot of guys are going to get the opportunity to be president of basketball operations and a coach at the same time. I think they're kind of individualizing those things. Well,
Mhm.
like I feel like Doc and Pop are probably like the only two to probably do that in our like generation of basketball.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't
and
think
like you
anybody
touched
else is
on,
even have that privilege right now.
you kind of touched on it, but like we were saying last week too, like Phil Jackson definitely did his thing and he did his thing super well, and you got to give him all credit for that. But like you're just saying, Pop is able to evolve his game as the league evolves and continually find new strategies to play in a newer version of an ever-changing game in just a way that is like unmatchable.
Yeah, it's
No doubt,
crazy.
yeah, that's the biggest point of it all. I feel like that's the one thing that needs to be stressed about giving Pop his flowers because, like, bro, like,
Like look at his championships and then look at him and look at his team right now. Like they're such different teams.
yeah,
I mean,
like
it's a
complete
vastly
different eras.
Literally,
Whereas Phil Jackson was trying to bring the triangle offense with him the whole entire way, and eventually it fizzled out, and that's eventually why he ended up kind of getting booted out of the league, was because it was like, all right, dude, like if you're not going to update your system to the new NBA, the new NBA is going to update their system with you.
It's like people grew up and started to figure out how to stop the triangle
Yeah.
system. So you have to be evolutionizing the way that basketball is played for your team. And I
Exactly.
feel like Pop does that at a great rate, and he's like a great guy off the court. Like
That's
when
what
you
it
hear
seems
about the
like.
stories of him
Everybody
being there,
except for Kawhi Leonard seems to love Pop.
and I feel like Kawhi and Pop probably have that father son bond similarly of just like that love hate of like I hate that you push me so hard, but I'm also grateful. Like Kawhi has to be grateful because
He
Kawhi
has
made
to be.
him Pop made him the player he is. Truthfully, like without going, if you put Kawhi in any other system, I don't think he would flourish into who he was, given his personality. I feel
No.
like being on the Spurs and being with Tim
It
Duncan
was the
and all
perfect
those guys,
system for how
literally
quiet
like
he
they
was.
all had like similar personalities, like Tony Allen,
They're
Manu
just ball
Ginobili, all
movement.
of
Don't
those,
talk.
yes, literally like quiet guys. So it's like him going into that system, I felt like definitely helped his career. So I feel like he has to have like
Honestly,
I'm
didn't
not
even
saying
think
he
about
owe it
that.
to him.
Yeah.
I don't think he owe it to him. Like I don't have to owe him nothing. You know, I did my own thing, but you have to be grateful for that system. And like God put you in a system that like that for a reason, and ultimately it led him to be able to lead the Raptors to that finals. Without having the
Yeah, and
coaching
you
experience he
remember
had from Pop, he would not be there.
you remember when he went back and played in San Antonio, when he was playing for the Raptors and everybody was booing and Pop like got up on the mic and was like, "Hey, like we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're letting the guy like
Yeah.
we're not about that. That isn't us. Let the
Yeah.
guys play the game."
Yeah.
That's one of the most like respectable
For
things
real.
to do, you
Especially
know.
after like all the reports of like it being like kind of a back and forth between Kawhi and Pop being the reason that Kawhi wanted out and wanted to get traded away, that like, you know what I mean, that Pops himself still went to the mic and was like, "Hey guys, like despite all of the media and all this, that, and the other, like you said, he was just like, we ain't doing it. This ain't us. Stop. Let them play." And that was that. And that honestly ended all of it. I mean, the only
Yeah.
people that really remember that stuff are like us NBA heads who were watching during the time and really paying
But yeah,
attention. But
because in that time period too, after that point, if you're a Spurs fan hating on Kawhi, you're disrespecting Pop. And if you're disrespecting Pop, you're not getting respect from any other Spurs fan, you know?
nah,
So
yeah,
it's
because
like,
Pop is like
Like Pop is
Spurs
everything
history.
to them.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like, that's his
that's just like,
organization. When you
yeah.
think
So I
about the
respect so
Spurs,
much the way that he used that power. You know, he knows that he's that respected of a man that he can go out there and stand up for Kawhi Leonard when he easily could have just let that happen.
yeah,
And it stopped. Yeah, like him doing that. Yeah, like you said, with all that power, it just cut it. Like I haven't heard about it since, really, except for
No,
that
when
low
random
key
people bring it
Kawhi's
up every
like a
once in a
love
while.
all-time
that's
Spur.
that showcased the love and respect that they have for each other too.
Yeah,
Of
for
like,
real.
you know, like it might be beef, it might have been a bad fallout, but that just shows that Pop still respects what Kawhi
Yeah,
brought
there
to the
was like
team
a deep
and who he is as a
brotherhood still that
person.
was built at that time period that
Yeah,
they were together, for sure.
where it's like, nah, I'm not letting you do that. And you know, any other guy, you know, he would have let him get booed. I felt like Kawhi, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, the Admiral, Tim Duncan. Nah, those six right there, you can't boo them in front of Pop. That won't go well.
Right. Alrighty,
Yeah, I'm
that's.
ready. I'm ready to do that top 10.
I was gonna say
Uh,
that looks like
I
that's
think
all
we
of
could just
the.
kind of start at the bottom, talk it over, and call it a day.
Oh no, after show.
Well, we can do an after show, yeah.
I was like, I mean, if you're trying to wrap it up, I mean,
No, I'm down. I kind of thought you guys might want to be trying to wrap it up just because we went for so long, but I'm down for the after show for sure.
I'm chilling if you guys are.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.
So, do we want to take a break before or after top 10 then? Because originally we said before.
I'm down to keep plowing away.
Yeah, let's just plow it through and then we'll see what we're feeling after that.
Yeah, I do have
All
something
right,
to do around 5:30.
cool. So, starting at the bottom, number 10, I got the Lakers. There was a point when I didn't have the Lakers on the list.
I got the Rockets.
I got Sacramento / the Warriors.
Okay.
A little slash. See, I was almost thinking about putting like at an 11 spot or something. I would have put the Spurs there. They would have been my honorable mention.
Okay.
Really, I kind of pushed the Kings out and wanted to put the Warriors, but I was like, I'm gonna just slash it because I don't want to eat my word.
I really don't know about the Kings.
Playing
I don't
that
know for sure. So
easy
that's why
game.
I didn't really I didn't put the Kings on the list because I honestly have no idea what they're gonna do or how they're gonna be.
Yeah, it is really 50-50 on how that goes. For me, I just don't see the Rockets not having a number one piece and not going out and being as aggressive as I thought they might be this trade deadline to try and get a for sure scorer to put next to their guys. I see them kind of falling off a little bit on the hot streak that they started the year with. Not saying that they're going to necessarily be bad because this is still top 10, so they'll be a top 10 team in the league and they still could go on a run. But I just see them kind of having a little bit more of a dip compared to some of these other teams when it comes to power rankings, not necessarily standings, but just how hot they are in the moment at the end of the season going into the playoffs. I see them as kind of the 10th spot.
Yeah, and I put the Lakers there just because I think they might have been there anyways. If no trades happen, I think they might have stayed there, and so I don't have any reason to think they're going to get worse. But I struggled because I want to put the Spurs there because I think the Spurs might be doing a lot better, and I also another honorable mention before we get deep is the Pacers. I thought the Pacers are doing really well lately. I don't know if they're going to keep it up or not, but so number 9. I got the Warriors.
It's exactly where I have the Warriors.
I got the Lakers.
Okay. So yeah, like we've been saying about the Warriors for like a half an hour, they're gonna be tough to beat going forward.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that seeing them play how well they did their first game, the rest of the season should be just as the same. They're just going to be building chemistry, getting energy riled through them, getting on hot streaks, figuring out their system, and I think they're going to be going into the playoffs. Honestly, very hot. We could even see them even maybe a little bit higher on this list. Maybe not higher on the playoffs like standings, like we said, they might be closer to an 8 seed, but with how hot they're coming in and maybe potentially knocking out like a Thunder first round, they could be higher up on that power rankings because I mean, these guys are dogs. They got a team full of dogs now.
Yeah. Yeah, you said you had the Warriors at 10, right, Antoine?
Yep.
Yeah, so we kind of just swatched our 9-10 spots.
Can I say? Well, I feel like we all gonna generally have the same team. It's just
Especially
a matter of like where they at.
Yeah.
It's like it's just where they end up, and that's like I'm talking about like that might actually be the case with these teams. I feel like we might generally be in the same ballpark as what they actually or the teams that might end up in the top 10. Just maybe not exactly, but I feel like
yeah,
10 teams.
Definitely be close.
We probably got probably like 2 or 3 teams, like how you said. We probably don't get all 10 right. We might not get the placements right, but I feel like we kind of all in a good ballpark of teams that are in the running to be these top 10.
No doubt.
In the power rankings.
So number 8, I got the Clippers.
Ooh, I don't even have the Clippers on my list.
Me neither.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think the Clippers will keep staying hot. Honestly,
I can respect it. I mean, I can see that world. Harden keeps going. Kawhi keeps having good games whenever he's in. Norman Powell keeps doing his crazy stuff that he's been doing. I mean, it's a system that's worked pretty well for them so far this year.
Yeah, and like we were talking earlier about continuity, you're going to see the rest of my list is kind of based on continuity. Like, I know that they're the same as they were 2 weeks ago, so their system should still work the same way. But you guys is 8?
Number 8, I got Minnesota.
Okay. Minnesota also didn't make my list.
They didn't make mine either, but
yeah, I won't lie. They're kind of weak this year.
That
for
I was
me.
Like, dang.
For real, though. Yeah, it did hurt to leave them out.
They have been hot lately. They've been better.
So yeah, they probably would have been like like you said, if you would have wrote an 11, they probably would have been my 11, honestly. Because like you said, like it was so hard to leave them out. I was like, ugh.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean.
For me at 8, I had the Knicks, actually. I know this is going to seem like a surprise, but I just...
No,
I don't know,
I hear you.
With Cat starting to fall off a little bit. I mean, Brunson's having great games, but with the start of how his season went this year, it really scares me looking at this Knicks team, and I could see a little bit of maybe a 1 to 2 week period where Cat's doing what he's doing now, not playing as good, and Brunson kind of has a little bit of a cold streak again, because we can't expect Brunson to score 40 every single night for the rest of the season. I mean, there's still like 30-something games left for every team, so I could see them kind of falling down a little bit in the power rankings just because of a little cold streak that they both go on. Sure, I could see them also coming into the playoffs a little bit hot, but for that reason, I kind of have them a little lower just because Cat's not playing as well right now and all that.
Yeah, I put them a little bit higher, but I definitely thought about that when I was making it to where I'm like,
I kind of knew that would be
feel-
kind of the hot take of having the Knicks at 8. I was like, ugh.
I honestly didn't put it lower for that reason. I was like, that might be a super hot take, but I feel like this little clump of like in the middle is kind of close. And it like we said, like Antoine was saying, we might not get it right, but we're probably going to get relatively close. I got the Rockets at number 7. So I think that was your 10.
Yeah, Rockets were my 10.
I got at number 7. We're on number 7.
Yeah.
Number 7, I have Denver.
See, so that's my 6.
So for me, I got the Lakers at 7.
Okay.
I had them kind of jumping up a little bit because I'm a believer. I am a believer that LeBron and Mini
it.
Bron, aka Luka Doncic, not actual Mini Bron, his kid, can go crazy. I think they can.
I'm not against that.
No, I think.
9, I believe too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
me
they're going to
too.
be
I think it'll be
absolutely
dope.
nuts. I think with Reeves coming crazy, the games that or that one game that both guys weren't in and he scored 45, Rui having a good night for them could help catapult him into playing really well, especially playing next to Luka. We all know that playing next to Luka makes everybody better, the same as it is with LeBron. So hopefully with another guy like that, you're like really seeing the amplifier even go up with that. And then like we've mentioned before, Dalton Connect could come back and be really good for them. And I don't know. I see a lot of faith in this team personally. I mean, of course, it's not like a top 5 being at 7, but I see a lot more potential in this team than I think a lot of other people are seeing. And I agree, they got holes, but I just think when you pair Luka and LeBron, it doesn't. You could have literally you could have us 3 out there with Luka and LeBron, and I feel like we're winning a finals. I'm gonna be completely honest.
We will. So I feel like they both set teammates up to succeed, but being able to have each other also, I think, played a huge role.
Yeah.
Like I said, like AD was great, but I don't think he was what LeBron needed.
He can't play that 1-2 game like Luka.
LeBron shouldn't have to score 50. Like, and AD cannot score 50 consistently, whereas Luka can go on a run and score 50 for 5 straight games. Like, so it's like I feel like that is filling that hole for LeBron of like he has somebody who can carry the load of scoring while he facilitates and set up the other players. It's really on the other 2 players on the team to come with their A game. Like those guys have the ticket to a championship. It's literally on the role players to fuck it up for them, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting cooked if it's us 3, LeBron and Luka, by every other contender.
No, they gonna run the power forward and center positions because they're taller than us, and
yeah, that's the first.
We'll just go off there.
I'm cooling, dude. I have full confidence in them. That's how much confidence I have. Put it down in the book.
I'm a pretty big guy, so I'm gonna just foul.
We're playing against, like we go up against the Warriors, not Jimmy Butler. He's gonna score, but Curry's gonna score 70 on us. I mean,
he's gonna score 70 on you because you're guarding him.
Well, who's necessarily to say that we wouldn't be guarding the big man because the big man isn't going to necessarily be good, so they'd take the good matchup. They're going to take the best matchup.
Let's put it that way. Now you got like an okay 7-foot NBA player is yamming it on Antoine's head every single time.
Not every time. Antoine's going to figure out how to push him the right way. Come on now, have some more faith in your big man.
Antoine's a guard.
Have some more faith in your big man.
Antoine's a guard.
That is true.
Yeah, but you got the body to guard the big man. You think you're gonna put me and my little ass on fucking Trace Jackson Davis? It ain't me.
No, it's got to be LeBron. LeBron's the only chance we have at center, bro.
Yeah, LeBron. So we got to fill in the middle. We got to have.
That's what. Okay. Probably you have to play.
So Luka's got to guard the best guy on the wing/point guard position because we're not guarding Curry, dude. We're not keeping up with Curry. Curry's gonna be open all game.
Well, who's gonna guard Jimmy Butler?
That's why I'm saying LeBron, and then we guard the rest. They're gonna guard the best 2 guys, and then we guard the rest.
All right, so we're getting scored on by Gary Payton.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm
Hey,
not
but we
guarding.
have a
Scored
better
on by
chance
Buddy
to guard
Hield.
up on
Guarding
him
Draymond.
than we do
I'm not
Steph
guarding
Curry. I'm not
Draymond.
saying we're going to do great.
I'm not guarding Draymond.
I'm
That's
not
all I
even
gotta
saying we're
say.
going to do good.
I'm
I'm
not
not
guarding
But
taking
those
Draymond.
guys
Draymond,
are going to
bro.
do so good.
I'm not guarding Draymond. I
Oh,
don't
you
want no
guarding
smoke.
Draymond.
I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke, Dre. You got it, big bro.
Okay.
No, I'm just
That was
playing though. It's
wild.
obviously all dumb hypotheticals.
Yeah, we're getting smoked for
I
shit.
hear
Yeah.
your point though. Like this is a crazy duo. I'd love it. I put him at 10 because I don't know and I'm scared.
I hear you. I mean, I understand why everybody is like, man, about it. They got holes. It's a 40-year-old guy mixed with a guy that's never played with them. All of a sudden, midway through the year, like it's a lot of what ifs.
So you put the Knicks at 8 and the Lakers at 7,
Yep.
and you put the Nuggets at 7, Antoine.
Yeah.
I put the Rockets.
That's
at
because
7.
that's all just like I said. It's power rankings, not necessarily standings. Because I
Right.
think the Lakers are going to come into the playoffs so hot after this trade. I think Luka's going to eventually mesh to the team by then and still even play good in the time that he's meshing. That come playoff time, they might not be the number 3 seed or anything, but even being a 4 or 5 seed for them is going to be amazing. I mean, they're the 5 seed right now, only 2 games back from the Rockets. And like I said, I mean, I personally predict the Rockets to kind of have a little bit of a downward spiral because they don't have a set guy. And once it comes to the end of the year, that's when you see guys playing more because they're trying to get into that conditioning of the play. Well, not playing more like right at the end of the season. You know, everybody likes to take that last week off. But like,
guys low key get hot after that All-Star break.
yes,
though.
ramping
Like,
up right now. This is when
crazy.
Luka and LeBron are expected to go on some crazy run or something
Or
like
like
that.
when Dame got hot towards the end of the year after the All-Star MVP.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. So I could see this team looking super hot fire come the end of the year, especially Luka saying that he feels motivated hearing that the Mavericks said that
so.
they traded
I'll
him for
enjoy
his
that.
conditioning.
I'll
Let's move
enjoy that.
Number 6.
6 is where I got the Nuggets. I think kind of
Yeah,
just
you
like you
said
guys were
that.
saying, I think Jokic is going to start being super consistent and winning and caring about winning for the rest of the season just because that's what guys do.
This
So I think
just
the
in,
Nuggets-
the Dallas Mavericks star Kyrie Irving is replacing Anthony Davis in the All-Star game.
I'm so happy Trae Young and Kyrie are in the All-Star game.
Yeah,
bro.
that's gonna be really
They're
dope.
like, I ain't
They
mad
definitely
at that.
deserve
Like,
it. They were on our
that's
snubs,
dope,
so
bro.
yeah.
But yeah,
I'ma go-
no defense in the game though.
I'm gonna go Dallas at 6.
Yeah, see, the Mavs fell for me right out. No Mavs in here. And it's because Anthony Davis is out indefinitely. I mean, who knows when he's coming back?
Yeah, I guess I did not put that into consideration.
Because when
when
I
I was
made my
making
list,
my-
Mavs were number 10 and the Lakers weren't on it.
Okay.
And then Anthony Davis got injured, and I was like, dang, this is going to mess things up. Don't really know what's going to happen. So I ended up moving the Mavs off because even if he comes back in a little bit, it's going to be hard to come back from losing right now because we're closer to the end than we were before. Who you got at 6, you said?
6 is Dallas.
Oh, yeah, I literally just went off on you saying that
Yeah.
for like a minute. Never mind. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Nuggets would be good. Did Cole say his?
He did not.
Well, at 5, I got the Knicks. So
I'm with you on that one. That's my 5 also.
yeah, I think that's where they are right now. My top 5 might literally just be the standings right now.
Yeah, mine too. That's what I went because I was like, I don't want to disrespect some of the teams that's already doing great. So I was like, I have to keep those guys at the power rankings and be at the top because I don't see them slowing down because a lot of these teams are like Cavs and Thunder and Celtics and Bucks. It's like I only see these teams going up from there and hopefully catching a nice little spark.
Yeah, so yeah, that is that. So you have Thunder, Cavs, Celtics, Grizzlies, Knicks.
No.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I have those in my thing, but they're not in that order.
oh, mine's literally in that order. But that's honestly what I think.
I
I
got
could see
Knicks
the
at
Knicks
5.
dropping, like I was talking with Cole. I could see the Knicks dropping. And honestly, exactly what he was saying. I kind of put the Warriors and the Lakers at the bottom, but I could see like the Lakers going up and the Knicks would be the team that dropped.
But yeah.
What number are we
What
on?
was
Are we
yours?
still on 6?
No, we don't.
I said
Well, you
Nuggets.
didn't do
He said
6.
Mavs.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys moved ahead. I had to run to the bathroom real quick.
And
My
then
fault.
yeah, I was just talking
Yeah,
about
we
the
did
Knicks because
5
they're at
too.
my 5, but I was kind of saying how like I see how they could definitely drop with the new teams performing better.
Yeah. Well, you got a 6, huh?
So for me at 6, I got the Bucks.
Bucks not on the list for me, bro.
Not on the list at all.
Have no idea. I don't know, especially because Giannis is taking a hiatus.
I mean, yeah, just for a little bit, but I mean, yeah, I hear you. That's crazy. I just personally really believe that this Kuzma trade is really going to help them.
I think
Yeah,
so
me
too.
too.
Seeing
But I
seeing
think
Dame just play absolutely amazing with the Bucks this year so far, really forming back into what we had hoped for that first year. I mean, obviously it's not as great as Portland Trailblazers Dame, but it's still been amazing to see him play make and score amazingly when Giannis is out, and still do the same when he's in and play good clutch time ball. I mean, like we said, he's got the lowest field goal percentage in clutch time, but that's because they're giving him every damn shot in clutch time. And
yeah, bro. I mean, I appreciate that prediction. No cap.
no, yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
bro
I
thinks
really believe
bro
in the
thinks
Bucks
that
this year. I'm not gonna
is
lie.
really gonna get it, and I do think they're gonna have at least a good playoff run. Just because I know Giannis is so motivated to play because he hasn't played for 2 years, and I think that the rest of the season is really gonna be getting used to Kuzma though. So I don't know how much winning that's gonna produce us as much as just like team bonding and team chemistry that will put us in a place that they'll probably be a top contending team in the playoffs. I hope they make it to the second round at least. I would
Yeah,
say
for sure.
it feels for sure, but you
And then
never
at
know.
number 5, that's where I had the Grizzlies.
Okay.
I love the Grizzlies to death, and I think they're like a great team. I don't know. Out of the top teams, they're out of the top 5. They're that 5 for me. I just see the other teams on the board, and I just see them. There's really no. I mean, it sounds like a very like lackadaisical argument, but it really like when I look at the top 5 teams on my list, and I look at who I really think will be the top of the power rankings by the end of the year, and who looks like they have the best chance to win the chip. I see the Grizzlies kind of towards the, especially after trading away Marcus Smart. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Marcus Smart is a great player to have on a team like that
Yeah,
you
he
want.
definitely is.
You know what I mean? So I
And
mean,
I'm realizing that's something I didn't take into consideration was Marcus Smart leaving.
yeah,
But
I don't
I
know.
was telling Antoine too. I realize my top 5 is literally the top 5 standings right now. Which, like we
Yeah,
said, I don't
that's simple to
necessarily
matter
think
too.
that the standings aren't going to change, but I still think that these 5 teams are going to be top 5. And then right when you came back, I was getting into, with the exception of if a new team, like you were arguing with the Lakers, if a new team looks better, the Knicks are going to be the one that end up falling. Um, so that's why, yeah, I feel like where you place the Knicks and the Lakers works just as well as where I placed them,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense.
Then what you guys got at 4?
Yeah,
I
so
got the
that's where the
Bucks.
Grizzlies are for me.
So
Dang,
that's
we
where
both
you
put
got
the
the Bucks. Yeah, I
Wow.
could tell he had the Bucks based off of how he didn't say that he didn't have them on the list. I was like, okay, we're waiting for that still.
Yeah, for sure. I got the Bucks at 4 just because I think you work with it really well. I think worst come to worst, Kuz will have a couple bad games where he does shit that is out of style. And I think that hopefully they'll be able to rectify that situation immediately and get him to understand his role. And I think once he understands that role, they can steamroll a lot of teams, if not every team in the NBA. Truthfully, the Bucks are probably my team for the finals. Realistically, like I'm gonna go Suns all day, but realistically, undelusional with it, I'm definitely probably gonna go Bucks. Like I would love to see the Bucks go and do that again.
It'd be
And
amazing.
actually, when we were talking about like the Cavs earlier, I was thinking, but I never ended up saying it, was there's really like there are like the Celtics and the Cavs and like kind of the Knicks are like the powerhouses in the East, but really there's not. I mean, any team could make it. Like the Pacers, I wouldn't be that surprised, you know?
Yeah, it's
Um,
kind of a toss up, and we see that from like the play
mhm.
in, not the play in, but from the mid season tournament. Like dudes probably don't take it as serious, but you can just see through that like who's like coming A game and who's not, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
it speaks a lot, like, and that's what I wish a lot of players take the play in a little bit more serious, not the play in, but the in season tournament, because but like it shows a lot. Like this is your chance to show the NBA that you guys are shooting for the championship this year.
Right, because it is like a whole different type of game. So it speaks volumes because the atmosphere is different, and it really is. Um, you're in a lot of win or go home scenarios, whether you're just made it to the tournament or you're in Vegas, and it's like that's really what the playoffs is about. Whether you're
Literally.
down 4 game or whether you're down 3 games and you're about to get swept or it's a game 7, like the win or go home games are the best ones.
Yeah.
For me at 4, I got the Nuggets. Honestly, this is the reason that I had them above the Grizzlies was just the continuity of that team. Like they've been the same team that has won the chip, except all they did was get rid of KCP and add Russell Westbrook. And you could argue that Russell Westbrook has been better for them this year than KCP was for them, even though KCP was an amazing piece for them, especially in that title run, was hitting very important shots at important times. But the counting stats show that Russ is playing amazing for
Russ
them.
can do a lot more things than KCP can.
Right.
Russ can read, can assist. I mean, he can facilitate, he can rebound, and he can occasionally hit a clutch 3.
Right. So
He's not the most efficient, but he can occasionally hit that clutch 3 to get the crowd going.
exactly, yeah, and hit that it go crazy, yeah. But so yeah, that's the reasons that I have the Nuggets like over a Grizzlies, even though the Grizzlies might be above them in the standings right now. I just see the continuity and just with Westbrook playing so well that them coming into the playoffs, it seems like, especially if Jokic is like for sure wrapped up the MVP by the end of the year and he has some like crazy 50-point performances where it's just like, all right, Jokic gets it. Like he's going to come out and go crazy in the playoffs too, just like he has in the past, and come take that chip again because, I mean, I don't know. That team is crazy. I just see the Nuggets as a dominant force for real. So number 3?
I got the Celtics.
That's where I got them.
Me too.
Yeah, there it is. I think we
Yeah.
got the same 1, 2, 3 then.
Yeah, we must because
1 and 2 might be different for us though.
You got the Cavs at 1.
Chill.
Yeah, chill out,
Let's
bro.
talk about 3. Let's
Come
talk
on.
about
Chill out,
3.
jerk.
Let's talk about
Chill
3.
out, jerk. Chill out, you jerk.
Yeah, I mean, I think things are going to stay the same.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked a little bit about the Celtics. They're kind of getting into like a fatigue kind of point now, where it's almost like they've been good for so long that like they don't seem to want to win as much as they did before, if that makes sense. Like they don't have as much of a drive, even though
Especially
they're still...
it being the regular season, they know what the real goal is. Like they're not looking to be that number 1 team in the NBA anymore. I don't think they kind of already took that chip. What, last year? I think they were also the number 1 seed out of the whole NBA. So
Yeah, they had that like crazy record last year.
right. So I mean,
And so I think it's just kind of fatigue. So I think they're still coming off a championship. I think they're still that caliber of team. I think they still could win a championship this year, but I think that the Cavs and the Thunder are definitely going to keep winning games. That's one thing we know for sure. And so you got to put the Celtics at 3.
I agree with that take. Really,
yeah, all of it.
honestly.
Yeah. So number 2, Cavs.
Yeah, I got Cavs at 2.
I got the Thunder.
Wow.
As somebody who said the Cavs was the fakers, I do have them at the 1.
All right, well,
they
you're going to have
did-
to explain yourself.
So
Yeah, because we can just talk about both simultaneously since we know what our
Okay,
number 1
so-
obviously is, and we'll just go back and forth off of why we think one is
So-
one or one of the
Yeah,
other.
bro,
So-
that's where I
so-
put the Bucks.
so
He said, "Wait, no, the Bucks are on my list. I
No
just forgot
Thunder.
about the Thunder."
Yeah.
So ending the season, and they just add the addition of DeAndre Hunter. I think with that system, I think now that they are aware that they have their missing piece, I feel like they're going to probably go on a hot run and end the season pretty hot. Like now they have a player that can help them stretch the floor and help them win games down the line when they need those clutch 3-point buckets. Hopefully he comes through for them. So I just think ending the season they'll probably be the hottest team and they do have only 10 losses so far. So I think with the addition of this, hopefully they don't lose too many other games.
I hear
And I
you.
don't think
I
their
think
I
the
don't think their schedule is too crazy for the rest of the season either.
I think the reason that I think the opposite, that the Cavs are gonna be number two and the Thunder, and of course we're comparing literally one, like like it's apples and oranges at this point.
I
We're
think the
comparing
Cavs are half a game behind the Thunder.
right, like we're not saying that like one team's gonna be substantially better. It's just that
Yeah,
one
no,
team's gonna be a little
and
bit
it's the
ticked
East and the
above.
West. So we basically got the Cavs as the one in the East and the Thunder as the one in the West.
Right,
Like
so
that's
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 for
basically
sure
what
for
we've
us.
all said. So
Yes.
it's like that doesn't matter. They both in different conferences, so they don't like really combat each other.
The thing that just gets me with the Thunder is they've been this dominant throughout the whole year, and they only just got Chet back. So I think you get Chet more acclimated back into the offense. Not that that's going to be a hard thing, just with the minute restrictions, of course, wanting keeping him healthy, like we've touched on earlier, with his kind of smaller size and whatnot, and being a little bit more injury prone when you see a tall guy with that little of a frame. Um, Come the end of the year, Chet gets back involved in that offense like crazy. You got Daniel Tice looking crazy in the offense and having role player games. I Heart and just like it's I don't know. I can't even put words to it. Like I genuinely think this is going to be one of the scariest teams that we've seen in our lifetime for years to come if they hold this together. Like
Yeah, I think this is the best shot at a dynasty that we have right now.
yeah. Yeah, them and the Cavs, honestly, and of course the Celtics and what they're building right now. If they win another
Right.
one, you could say that they're at like the start of it.
Yeah, and that's also something about the fatigue too. We were saying like the Celtics could come back and win another one right off the championship. So we're kind of just getting tired of saying that. But
Right.
it definitely could happen. They could be one of the better Celtics teams even in history, which is obviously comparable to like Larry Bird.
No, yeah, for real though. The way that this
So
team is built, it's definitely up there. Like it's at least in my quick thinking head, like top three. You got to put it up there with like the Bill Russell team with Bob Cousy, the Larry Bird team with Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, and then it's got to be them. I mean, I wouldn't say that
yeah,
they go above
especially if
them,
they win
but
more.
it's
No, they're
definitely
definitely
like
not above
there.
them. But they
Ooh,
got to
but then
be
you got that Paul Pierce KG
yeah, I was
team
gonna
too.
say right now they're kind of even with that like 2008 team.
Yeah, because that 2008 team only won one. So right
and
now they're
so far
even
this
with it.
team's only won one.
Yeah.
Even though Jason Tatum's been to the finals a handful of times. Well, twice, but he's been in the conference finals a handful.
But that was also kind of the same with the Celtics. So they're really like
Right, so
tied
it's,
up
like,
really
pretty
right
balanced. So if they keep winning, yeah, they could potentially be the top three or even one of the best. I mean, you're not going to beat Bill Russell's.
now. Yeah, that's why I was
not
like, I don't know. Yeah,
But
like
back up the
Celtics,
truck.
you're talking
Now
real
that I
tough
really
because you
think
got like
about
the
it,
OG dynasty
yeah.
there.
But they could, if they win championships, they could be comparable to the Larry Bird era. Which would be tough competition, obviously. Not trying to disrespect the 80s at all, but they're a good team. And yeah, so we talk about the Thunder. They're probably another team because they're young too. And then like you said about how like SGA is able to kind of as a younger person still be a leader and mentor to people that are his age or younger than him, and kind of lead that team and build them up together, and they can kind of grow together. And he's also expressed being super happy there. So there's no reason for him to leave. So they'll just
Yeah.
continue to build around him. And that team loves each other. Like they're homies.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
can really see them like not caring about getting the most amount of money that they can and just like all continuously taking less money.
Yeah, I
stay
could see them
together.
taking pay cuts so then they could
Um,
keep the team together. Because, like you
and
said, they're
that's
homies. Like they genuinely like have a brotherhood over there that they just like
and
love
you
being
can't
a
beat
part of.
that. Like if you
No.
got a bunch of guys that are accepting being underpaid so that they can be a championship team, then they're gonna keep winning consistently, and there's not much you can do about it.
I wish more people did that. I wish more people took the pay cut for a better legacy. Because we see players who have a legacy that kind of get killed because they don't have any championships to back it up. Because if only they stayed down, they would have came up eventually. And I feel like if you stay down long enough and like not take the money route and you win championships and be a part of winning organizations, after your playing career is over with, I feel like you will get the opportunity to make that money back, whether it's coaching for an
Yeah, I was gonna
office
say
or
that winning
broadcaster.
championships is gonna be long term more profitable for you than just accepting the most amount of money
No
and
doubt. Yeah.
never
Exactly.
ever
So
getting there.
I just like when coaches do it too. When like assistant coaches kind of be quick to run away to go head coach their own teams, and then they don't do well, and then they get fired, and now they're back on somebody else's coaching staff. When it's like, had you stayed in your system, that you guys like, say if you guys make to the finals or the conference finals, you see that this system is working, and we have something good going on here. So if we keep these pieces here and keep continuously building on them, that will, bear the fruits of the labor. But like being so quick to jump up and leave because the money is better, it's just like not always the best, especially for certain people. For in certain situations, you can leave and go chase that bag. But for other people, it just tends to not. More than likely, it tends to not be a good thing for you trying to chase the money.
Chase the money. Chase the money.
But yeah, I think that's all the basketball talk for today.
After show. All right, hopping into the after show. We got all of our NBA talk out of the way and moved out. So we're going to talk about just what's going on in the world right now. I mean, just yesterday, the Super Bowl happened, so we got to talk about that. We're going to talk about the halftime show, maybe some Grammys talk, and just anything else that is on our mind that we noticed that was happening on in the world that we want to talk about. Starting off, Super Bowl.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Eat my words.
Yeah, we the ones that over here. We the ones that predicted the Eagles to take that one away. So we definitely got that, but
BTA, man.
Yeah, it was kind of a sad performance. I think we all said that, like, amongst each other in the small talks we've had about it so far. That it was great for me and Swano to be able to guess who was gonna win, but it was kind of lame to see it go the way it did. I mean, it's awesome for the Eagles, and I'm sure they're feeling super hyped about it, that they just like took down they're the David in the David versus Goliath story and just absolutely whomped them, one hit with the freaking slingshot to the forehead. But I mean,
you want it to be competitive,
right? As a sports fan, it wasn't fun to watch. I mean, I tuned out after halftime. I left Michael's house because he was having a little thing, and it was just like, bro, I'm like, I ain't even tuning this on once I get back home. Like, this shit.
I think that was a big part of it too. Was after the halftime show, it really felt like I didn't want to watch it anymore. And at first, I was like, I just only wanted to watch the halftime show. But then this morning, I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, the game was pretty much over already, anyways.
Yeah.
So like, if I'm being honest, after they scored like 20 points, I was like, this game is over with. Let me get to halftime.
Yeah, like there's only one time we've ever seen anybody come back from that, and that was Tom Brady. Like, we got to now at this point stop comparing Patty Mahomes to TB.
A lot.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that a lot last night. I was like, I remember though, there was a year that I was like,
bro, we were together that year.
And guess what happened? All of a sudden, they're like, the Patriots are winning, and
we're like running around playing hide and seek, and then they're like, hey, the Patriots are winning. We're like, what?
So I was low-key thinking about that last night because we weren't watching the second half after everybody left, and so I was like, am I gonna miss out on like another amazing comeback in Super Bowl history just because I like left early? And luckily I didn't, because I'm still sad that we didn't just stay in the room and like watch the game.
And see like the best thing.
Like, that would have been super dope. But
yeah, that was tough. It was not fun. I mean,
wasn't child like 18?
Huh?
Wasn't child like 18?
When was the Falcon?
That was 2016.
2016? No, we were 16. Or I was 16. Just take the last two digits of the year, bro, and that's me.
You 2000.
I'm 2000.
I don't know why I thought you was 98.
So, yeah, but we like went to like a church.
So you was like 17, so
like there was like everyone was watching the thing, but then they're also doing like youth group games and stuff. So we were doing like that. Like, around the church type.
Yeah, because when he said hide and seek, I'm like,
boys like. I was like,
I watched the game on some grown adult stuff.
No, yeah, it was like a whole ass fucking church that we were running around in, like with a bunch of rooms and stuff.
Like
so
a high school youth group type of vibe.
We're like hiding in rafters and shit like that.
Yeah,
like doing crazy.
Now I knew. I thought that was just at the crib playing hide and seek with
No,
like, bro,
I guess I could have clarified where we was. That makes sense.
Bro. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually hilarious. That like you're like that.
People watching this gonna be like,
why are they talking like they were 9
years
old?
It's gonna take them a second until they hear about where we was at, like this exact moment. That they're like, wait a minute. Why
Like,
was they
bro,
grown playing hide and seek?
yeah, that's what Cole said. I was like 14. Like,
Antoine's like, I wasn't playing.
He's like, I
like,
was
bro,
even doing better stuff than
yeah,
that.
because he was like doing kid stuff. I was like, that's why I was like, it was 2016. I
That
was
make a lot of
14.
sense.
Yeah,
So I
bro.
was like,
Literally when I said that, I was like, dang, we weren't that young to be saying that we were doing kid stuff, playing and stuff. Because that really makes us sound
Playing
like we're
ping
not.
pong too, though. I mean,
Yeah, but like realistically, that's how you phrase what high schoolers do at youth group.
yeah.
They
nah,
do
that's
kid
dope.
stuff.
That's how I was able to watch it at youth group though. That's how.
Yeah, they
That's
had
Yeah,
it
we
on
were
like this
always
big old projector too. It was crazy.
yeah, that was probably immaculate. I ain't even gonna bad.
It was. I mean, the parts
I
that
was
I
just at
remember
the crib.
watching was actually really dope. But then, yeah, I mean, we just thought Matty iced it, and well, he didn't.
Matty B raps.
Stop it. 2 middle fingers. It's fuck you twice.
But yeah, the halftime show was crazy too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Speaking of which, we got to get back into that little debatey debate that I wanted to hold off on. You were saying Wayne over K Dot for this. I hear you on the New Orleans thing, bro.
I'm not saying Wayne over K Dot, Wayne over everybody when you come into his town. I feel like people kind of say hate on it, but let's not act like Wayne isn't a Grammy winning artist, a platinum recording artist. But I'm saying, so when you're coming to Louisiana, you kind of have to like show respect to that man in that like state, given he's never performed there. And then they had a bunch of New Orleans and Louisiana artists performing at the pre-shows, like doing like the songs and stuff. And it's like y'all didn't get what he appreciated. He didn't want that. But like if you come into NOLA, like not giving it to Wayne and like I'm saying,
he is past his prime performing, man. I don't know if you've been seeing recent clips of him, but they saved us.
I have not, and that definitely plays a role as to why he shouldn't be surprised. It's like, what is the experience that you're given? Kendrick is a great performer, but I was also going to say how when they went to LA, they definitely gave Dr. Dre his love, and I'm not saying that Lil Wayne has had a bigger impact than Dr. Dre, but it's like,
I mean,
you go
Wayne's
to LA and you like West Side.
Yeah, Wayne's my goat.
When we go to LA, it's like West Side crazy. Dr. Dre gets to bring out Snoop, 50 Cent, Eminem, but then we go to NOLA and it's like, oh, Wayne. But then again, it is the huge fact of Lil Wayne has not passed. He's past his performing peak, and
that's the thing. Yeah.
He doesn't make the performing experience what it should be for the Super Bowl.
Bro,
I think. No, you can go.
I won't argue who's better all time between K-Dot and Lil Wayne. There was a long time when Lil Wayne's my GOAT, but right now they're tied right at the top, and I can't really pick one over the other.
That's respectable for sure. Yeah, I respect that fully.
K-Dot's last album definitely put him so far. Even more.
Before that was really what put him there for me. So then to come out with this past year that he's been having on top of me, like starting to respect K-Dot as one of the GOATs, man. He's on a historic run as a rapper.
Yeah. After his last album, it put him top 4 for me. And I would go top 3, but I don't want to glaze and move Drake out because they had a beef. So I'm gonna just go top 4 because Drake is in my top 3.
Drake still is the biggest artist of our generation. Don't care what
Lil Wayne
says,
is my number 1. Lil Wayne is my number 1. And I gotta put his son in there, given what his son used to do and what his son has done, like in the last years, like the biggest artist of our generation. Like that man, like all that ghostwriter stuff. Like you, as somebody who know people who've been around the music industry, a lot of your favorite rappers have ghostwriters. If you check the bottom of credits when you go on Apple Music and look at dude's music, you will see a bunch of names that's not your favorite artist. Those are people who helped him write that song or like help illustrate that. So it's like everybody
helped him
being
find
like,
the rhythm of how he was gonna say it. Like
exactly. So it's like you can say Drake has a ghostwriter. A ton of people have ghostwriters. Beyonce is like most known for like having Rihanna write songs for her, and Leon Thomas from Victorious, he writes songs for tons of people too. It's like
there's so many people that are almost like more known for writing songs for other people than they are making music themselves because their voice just doesn't carry over as well to the songs that they're actually writing.
Bro, and one thing I love is like taking those writers' songs and putting them in kind of like a category, like a playlist type of thing. And then you do hear that is a specific style
Yes.
of music, and you're like, dang, this is Justin Bieber, Bruno Mars, and 3 other people, but it still sounds like it's the same album because the same person wrote all this music in the same era.
Mhm.
And yeah, that is something that I feel like once you get into in music is super interesting and helps you just like respect how much it takes and how many moving parts there are to actually like put music out into the industry.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I feel
sure.
like most people give Drake flack about having a ghostwriter is people who's never done music
Yeah, they have
themselves.
no idea
Like,
anything really
as
about
somebody
music.
who's rapped, I can see it is hard to make a song, and for Drake to be doing it since 2009, 2008, and continuously be making hits, like that's a hard thing to do for one person to do. So like, and like everybody else in between, like Michael Jackson used to have ghostwriters, like Quincy Jones used to write all the Michael Jackson hits, and that's not taking
Especially
any talent away from Mike. It's just that's just kind of how it works. There's people who there's a team of ghostwriters who like work and collaborate. Like it's hard for one brain to like make so many hits of music. Like that's just like I don't think that's humanly possible, bro.
No.
You have to like I don't think nobody can do that. It takes a collaboration of people to like build that. You know,
Especially
you can't just do
nowadays
that
with
by
like how
yourself.
high of production that we expect and like whatnot as
for sure.
consumers of the
It's like
music.
every year you would hope they drop another album.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
So
It's
it's like,
like
how do you
which is
expect
a
one
crazy
person?
expectation.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's have a life. Like how you expect him to like be there for his kids and like experience the world and like do shows for you. Like
Yeah, I
what do
was
you think
gonna
he has
say,
time to sit and
and
write
go
an
on
album for
tour
you?
and do autograph signings and
Exactly.
this and
You know?
that, and
I like
show up on the Ellen show and do all of these
it's like
extracurricular
yeah,
things
it's like
while you're trying to produce music at a rate where people are satisfied.
I think
It's
it's
just like,
I think a big thing that plays into that is the idea of when you're at the top and you're considered the best, you're going to have people that hate. And it's like, as I got older, I kind of realized that more and more of just like everything that goes on in life. Like LeBron James, for example, he's the top of the world in the NBA. He has tons of haters. I'm one of them, truthfully. Like I'm not afraid to admit it. And it's like, and I feel like in some way, somewhat ties in my heart to him being the biggest. And then you got Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes was playing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, everybody was on Patrick Mahomes' side. It was like, yes, take down Brady. He's been getting cheated like for. And now that Patrick Mahomes is the dominant force in the NFL, everybody's like, fuck him, get him out of here. We don't want him to play on this. Like, you know, he doesn't deserve to be here. And it's like, how did things switch up from him being the hero to now being the villain? And just like we can see that in so many different facets of life. It's just like it always does this repetitive circle of you becoming the best you can be and people not respecting that, I feel like. So I feel like that plays a huge role into Drake too, of just like, you know, everybody kind of he got to the top. Well, him and Kendrick's beef is definitely like understandable. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about in terms of all the people that's kind of trying to strip him of who he is as an artist in the music game. I feel like that's kind of disrespectful. Like I have some homies that's like, no, he sucks, and it's like, be for real. Like stop. Like be an adult and be mature about your rational thinking, and you will understand. Like you can't strip this guy who's done this at the best of his ability
Yeah.
out of
He's
his
got all
place
of
just
these like
because you hate.
records and this, that, and
Just
the
because
other.
he's not your taste in music doesn't mean this guy isn't
For
great
sure.
at what he
Yeah.
did. You know.
and you can hold that opinion and at the same time be like, but he lost miserably in the rap beef with Kendrick.
Yeah, that's
Right.
like
And I
I
feel
say,
like a lot of people miss that.
it's like, yeah, for sure. It's like, I as a Drake fan, I would never be like Drake is like he didn't lose. I'm not gonna be delusional now. Like
Drake
everybody
lost,
loses,
yeah.
bro. And I say everybody loses in life, bro. That's just the truth of the
He
matter.
beat
Like
Meek,
I hate
so
when-
like,
I
bro.
hate Meek, the one who put it out that he had a ghostwriter.
And he still
Like,
won that beef, in my opinion.
Literally.
With
You
back
know,
to
it's like,
back, that shit ended it.
going back to back.
That
Going back to back.
like, come on now. That was good. So
What he
like
be
you
doing?
gotta take some L's with the W's.
But
But that halftime show, that shit.
Yeah, he took he pop, 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 pop. You saw what his shirt had. Shirt had a whole bunch of holes in it. He got them shots. He received them. I feel like the Super Bowl is just like so symbolic and just like so many levels. And we don't have to get into those levels because there's so many of them. But like for people watching this, like if it went over your head, Kendrick was doing something way bigger than just dissing Drake. He did diss Drake in a lot of things on that stage, but he also stood up for a lot of social like situations that's going on in the world that other people would never sacrifice their platform to do, which is like, that's why I respect his performance. Everybody's like, the performance was mediocre because he wasn't just telling you this false narrative. He was shedding light on the bigger picture of what's going on in the Black community. And it's like so many, like I saw a post on Reddit that kind of broke it down, and it's like hearing how much like detail and intention he put into that performance of like every small thing on that thing was just like magnificent. And it's
Every
like,
detail.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
It was super
like
nice.
that's big ups to him for sure. Of like you created that's art. Like that's art.
Yeah.
That wasn't just a Super Bowl performance. That was art. And
No, it definitely was. And it was like, it was so intentionally like for the camera too. Like he did not care what the people in the stands were actually looking at as far as looking at the field, which you've kind of seen that trend in Super Bowls. But it was just like, at one point I mentioned, I was just like, Kendrick just makes the best music video, but it's live, because it really did feel like a music video at some points. And like you said, like multiple layers of symbolism and just like getting to kind of with the whole Sam Jackson, Uncle Sam bit, getting to kind of like show you what a lot of his best music actually means to him, and like put that out there. It was just really cool. And it also, like, when you think about like NWA in the 90s and like riots in Detroit, um, really kind of paved the way for Kendrick to be able to go up there and do that. And that's why Kendrick said right at the beginning, like, the revolution will be televised, because it's kind of like I'm here and I'm going to say what I'm going to say no matter what. And we're at a point in society now where New Orleans didn't burn down because of it. Kendrick didn't get arrested. And so that was really cool to just kind of take that whole look on it.
Yeah, for sure. Loved that.
Yeah, I had people at my house who was like, why he didn't play this song? Why he didn't play this song? And it was like, you clearly, well, first of all, you don't know his discography enough to know that the songs that he played had a deeper meaning and stood for something. Like some of those songs that most people didn't know were songs that had good meanings for like different causes. And it's
low-key,
like
like,
he
his
chose to
best,
play those
like,
intentionally. Like
they
he
were
could
some
have
of my
went,
favorite songs.
yeah, it was. He definitely played a lot of hits for
Oh my
sure.
gosh,
But
yeah.
I feel like it was other songs like people was like, why he didn't play "Ya"? Why he didn't play "Loyalty"? Why he didn't play "Love"? And it's like, like he could have
It
played
was
some
all
of
on
those songs.
theme.
Yeah, it was like he was sending the message. Like this was like he did not want to be a pawn today. He was being the player. He wasn't being the pawn. He was being the player.
Oh yeah,
And
he was
that's why
controlling
I
the pace
respect
the
that.
whole way. Yeah, it was good.
I respect that. That's like a big ups to K Dot. Like, I feel like we need more people with platform of like superstars to be out here shedding the light on these topics, because I feel like us as regular people sometimes feel like those people at the top don't hear us and feel like the things that we feel passionate about in terms of like social injustices or just like anything, or just like, I feel like we often be like, those guys don't see us, they don't care about us, they already rich and got everything they need in life, so these common themes don't affect them. But it's like, it was cool to see somebody of his magnitude and him to be like the hottest thing in the world right now, to like get on that platform and like share that with us. Big ups to K Dot.
For sure.
Plus,
Tell
yeah, to
that
reiterate
tell that
what Harvey
Canadian
said,
to get
it's
back. Tell Drake to get it
visually
back in blood.
so beautiful.
Not get it back in blood.
And then we had the Grammys too that K Dot just absolutely
I will say one thing,
stole
because
the
I
show
did
in.
defend Drake. I defended Drake at a high level. If he's a pedophile, I do not stand with Drake. I'm just being honest. If
That's
he's
valid.
really with that minor things,
I
I will
mean,
grab
yeah.
and disown that man. No, because
Yeah.
I defended him, and they was like, "Well, did you forget about the fact that he's pedophile, like a minor?" Like, I
Yeah,
definitely heard those
that's a
things.
super
I
good thing
don't
to
put that
point
under the
out,
rug.
I mean, yeah.
If
that's
he's really
The
with
elephant
that,
in the room is
but
the elephant in the
we
room, and all of
actually
us are
don't know
way
if
against
that's
that.
true or not.
yeah, and we genuinely don't. Like,
and we've been told it's not true. There's no evidence, so there's just
he might get hit with a defamation suit.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I don't think K-Dot's just like making stuff up, so we don't know.
Hopefully, we find out one day.
Hopefully,
the truth comes to light.
This is not the place for the truth on that one. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I'll tell you that.
And then the Grammys too, like I had mentioned. The Grammys, K-Dot still on the show again. and took 5 Grammys home and just went nutty.
Yeah, that was cool. Because he won everyone he was nominated for.
Yep.
That was exciting. It's also like last year, the Barbie song won rap song of the year.
Okay.
And I was so mad, bro. I thought it was gonna be the All My Life by J. Cole.
Yeah, that should
I
have been
was
song of
hyped.
the year. That last year that was pretty crazy.
So I didn't really have high expectations for the Grammys this year because of that. I was like, K-Dot's probably not going to win, but then he won all 5. He kind of stole the show, yeah. Along with Beyonce, kind of stole the show.
Yeah, I saw so many people mad that Beyonce won Country Album of the Year, but like,
And Album of the Year.
yeah, couldn't even care less. I mean, she's Beyonce.
Yeah, so yeah, it was definitely super dope Grammys, but obviously a lot of people have their opinions. So
Yeah, it seems like everybody is mad about everything, but I mean, I thought everything went fine.
I didn't hear anything else more on the radio than Beyonce's country album.
No,
People
yeah,
were
for
mad
real.
all the time.
I think it's just a certain subgenre of people that we know about that, you know what I mean, just be
Yeah, it's
hating.
definitely there's just haters out there.
Yep. But yeah, was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about that happened in this past week, really, from the pop culture standpoint, I guess? Any new songs or any new whatever?
Dude, the Fantastic Four trailer dropped.
Oh yeah, that looks really good in my
Um,
opinion.
Yeah,
I'm mad that
Marvel's starting to
everybody's
come back
mad about
around.
where how the thing looks. I think it looks more comic booky, so I mean,
Yeah, people just love to complain.
yeah.
It really is. Yeah, it does look more comic booky, and it's like the first one was just like a suit, and now they're using CGI to make it actually look like the thing. But a lot of people never read comic books; they just watched the old movies that weren't as comic book accurate. So I feel like that's where those haters come from when they're talking about inaccuracy of suits and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like Marvel fell off for a long time. I mean, not really, since the last Avengers movie.
Yeah.
But I also remember that happened after the initial Avengers came out, and then they were kind of hot for a couple years, and then they fell off when they introduced like Doctor Strange and Ant-Man and the Guardians, and like that stuff did kind of well, but people were kind of confused and didn't really know what was going on in the Marvel universe. And then Infinity War and stuff happened, and it all tied back together, and Marvel is the greatest film studio of all time. And then the same thing happened. They introduced a bunch of new concepts and stories, and people fell off. And now we're getting back to that point where they're going to start reeling everybody back in, and all the pieces are going to make sense.
Hopping off that
Come on.
Marvel conversation, Marvel Rivals. You, my boy, Tuano, you got to be getting on Marvel Rivals more often.
Yeah, I do. I'm starting to find that love for it. The last time me and Michael played, I really enjoyed it. So I'll be down to get on a little bit later after I go pick up my package.
We need that Hulk for real.
Yeah,
But I don't know if you'll be on
Michael,
because
no, I'm a demon.
you said you still got to go shopping and whatnot, and I got to edit this up afterwards, obviously. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that game's definitely doing hot. We're both streaming that. So.
all the time. Definitely go check out our stuff. It'll be everywhere in the YouTube page and whatnot.
Go ahead, drop that follow on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Don't add me on Facebook because I don't want to be your friend.
That's funny because last episode you said to add you on Facebook.
Type. Yeah, I came to my senses. I don't want y'all to be on my Facebook, so just drop a follow on Instagram.
How do you keep up with that, bro?
What?
You said add me on Facebook, so say I go add you on Facebook. Now I'm watching, and now you're like, don't add me on Facebook. I gotta go back and unadd you on Facebook. Next week you're gonna be telling
I'm not going to accept you on Facebook if you follow me on Facebook. I mean, if you add me on Facebook, I'm gonna just leave you at my friend
requests. Yeah.
Next week,
but now that we like podcasting and putting ourselves out there, they're probably going to add us on Facebook because we're out there.
They're gonna try, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually trying to delete my Facebook because I like it's just filled with people from high school, and I like never use it, and I don't want. I don't know what I put in high school when I was 14. It's probably some like dumbass shit, you know. Like, I have no idea.
I
I
want
don't
some
think it was
tweets to
anything like
resurface.
The way you
I
raised
got,
your
hey, I
eyebrows.
got some crazy shit. I got some crazy shit out there on Facebook. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Not nothing like.
I have no. I know that
Nah,
like
I probably
when
got.
my 7th grade girlfriend broke up on me, I filled her timeline with a bunch of stuff, and like that's not the type of thing if we pop off I want people to find. You know? So like,
I say my Facebook either, but low key, my Facebook don't have my pictures. My Facebook with the crazy shit. So you can't really tag to me unless you play this clip back.
yeah, my digital footprint on
Which
Facebook
people
is
will
huge.
play this clip back.
You know, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you
Alright,
mean?
I'm cool on it.
Yeah, we can wrap up. Alrighty. That was what, the 6th official episode of Ball Talk Podcast, I think.
No, I think it was
Hopefully.
the fourth.
Fourth?
Yeah, because y'all did 2 without me, and then I did the last one, and then now it's the fourth.
Really? Am I like over exaggerating?
Unless y'all did some that y'all didn't post. But I know it's only
No, I
3
think
on
he's
the
right.
site.
I think we did 2 without him, and then we did 2 with him.
No, this is a second with him though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying this the 2 with me. This is the second one with me, so 2 in total.
Oh, okay, so this would be 4 is what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's episode 4. I know y'all said y'all recorded
Damn,
like
you guys are right. Damn.
like y'all. I'm saying y'all
Huh.
did say y'all recorded like a 20-minute one and like did a mock one.
Yeah,
so I
that
can see
one
why you
didn't
say
count,
6.
though.
You know what I'm saying? I can see why he counted as 6 because he probably in his head
That's
remember
because
like
we did
we
get together
podcasted
a
6
third
times.
time.
Yeah,
and,
we
like,
did.
started recording.
Yeah.
So, like, I definitely, because that did confuse me for a second. I like thought about it. It's like we definitely met up 3 times though.
Yeah. But all right, so that was the 4th official episode of the Ball Talk Podcast. I hope you guys all enjoyed so much. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, hit the noti bell, share it with your mama, your grandma. Go create the go create the YouTube account for your dog and make your dog watch it. Give it to make sure it goes everywhere. We want to just share our love for the game and our knowledge for the game with everybody and make it a beautiful community where everybody can come and learn the game and ask questions and whatnot. Anything you guys want to say?
No, I just thank you guys for supporting, and we just hope to be as big as some of the other podcasts one day. So just continue to support us and bear with us as we figure out how we want to shape this podcast.
Don't ever disrespect Chris Middleton in front of me, or we're gonna have problems. And that's all I gotta say.
We love you guys so much. I hope you're having a great morning, day, night, evening, whatever time of the day it is that you're watching this, and we will see y'all next week.
Hey, bro, you